speaks.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11Alive today.
In times of great uncertainty, some things become more clear. The things we take for granted, the people we depend on daily. Here at 11Alive, we'd like to say thank you. First responders, medical staff, sanitation workers, truck drivers, postal workers, and every brave Georgian doing their part to make a difference. We see you, we hear you, and we appreciate all that you do.
Let's start with a viral message going around. Quote, vast majority of people who died had ibuprofen Advil in their system. This message is fake.
We just bought 20 dust masks for $97.
Are you doing this to help people, or are you doing this to make money, or both?
Both. Take this email sent to the Verify team. Is it safe to have your house cleaned by outside workers? The best practice is to limit guests to emergencies only.
We know things are changing every day, but we're here with you. Continuous COVID-19 coverage during prime time. We're committed to giving you facts, not fear.
11Alive News Primetime on the ATL starts now.
Right now, hundreds of people are at the heart of Atlanta, with crowds growing larger as curfew grows closer and the storm clouds loom. Tonight, the mayor and police chief both stepped out amongst the protesters to hear them personally. It's the first time that we've seen Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms meet publicly with the protesters a day after some protesters demanded it. Here's what she had to say to the crowd downtown.
I stand here today, the 60th mayor of Atlanta, the direct descendants of slaves in this state. We are in the midst of a movement in this country, but it's going to be incumbent upon all of us to be able to get together and articulate more than our anger. We got to be able to articulate what we want as our solution.
Well, thanks for joining us on Primetime News. Right now, we are watching a peaceful demonstration downtown, waiting for that curfew to begin in the city.
And Ron, we know that's when we usually see police start to move in and arrest any protesters who do not leave on their own. This is a live look right now at Marietta Street near Centennial Olympic Park Drive. We have team coverage out there, but one thing we've been talking about the last half hour or so is the rain. We saw the umbrellas come out among the members of the crowd, but we did not see too many people actually leave. They stayed out there, they stuck it out, and now the rain seems to have taken a break. Those protesters still out there with their signs held high. And we know that this is the 7th night that we have seen these protests going on. We are 1 hour away from that 9 p.m. curfew. And this is the 6th night that we have had that curfew that we now know will extend into the weekend. Again, as we mentioned, we do have team coverage out there live tonight. We're going to go now to our Brendan Keefe, who's been monitoring the situation all evening. Brendan?
Hi, guys. It's a lot. How do I put it? The temperature's a lot higher out here, even though it's been brought down by the rain. This is more like what we saw Saturday and Sunday night than the last few nights. It's a non-stop chanting fest out here. Let me first show you, before we go back to the protesters, this line right here. Watch yourself, Lindsay, you're on the air. That these are the National Guard MPs, and then they're backed up by Atlanta police and armored vehicles. This is the line we have seen essentially all week. They're standing farther back. Part of the reason they're standing back is clearly to not agitate. There are some officers up front but those up front officers are even at a standoff distance. What we are seeing, in addition to the group of protesters here, is we are seeing little conversations going on. If you can see right over here, hold on one sec, sorry. Right over here, there's a conversation going on between two police officers and a group of protesters. There've been these like sort of meaningful little dialogues, but it's having no effect on the greater crowd. We did talk earlier to both the police chief and the mayor, who came out right up to the protesters. The mayor marched with the protesters, but both of them had a hard time communicating their message. Why did you want to be out here personally?
You know, I think it's just we're used to, as APD, interacting and hearing the protesters. That is not abnormal for us. What is unusual is that we're in a space that we can't have the protests ongoing and interacting with the protesters along the route. So I think that I don't think what I'm doing is particularly unique. I think it's part of our culture at APD. What's unfortunate is that we're in a space right now where we are having to have the National Guard, we're having barricades, we have a curfew, and the sooner we can get to a space where we know the protests can resume safely, we'll all be better for it.
Is part of this about having the dialogue, about listening and not just talking?
Oh, you know, those are good terms, and you always want to have a dialogue and you always listen. But then you see what happened in Minneapolis and you're like, there's no amount of dialogue that could help any of us understand that. So I think that we have to understand that there's greater issues than just putting on paper what changes are needed.
Absolutely. Atlanta was not the focus last night on national television. I was off yesterday, so I was watching from home. The split screen with Atlanta wasn't there because it was largely peaceful. Do you think, it's hard to call anything a success here, but do you think that the tactics are working here where they're not working elsewhere?
You know what, I'm reluctant to judge anyone because at the end of the day, we have the National Guard here, we have curfew. This isn't who Atlanta is, it's not what we want, and until we navigate out of this space safely, it's hard to feel really good about anything.
Yeah. Do you, every night has been more peaceful than the night before. Do you credit that in part to the stance of the officers in the National Guard?
Well, what I'll say is our officers and the Guard, inclusive of everyone, have been phenomenal. I mean, what they are being subjected to has been, especially on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, was not okay. But you know what? I don't know. I don't want to, because at the end of the day, I think we have a huge number of protesters who are doing it the right way and aren't looking to throw knives, start fires, shoot guns. I think they just want to protest. So I think the number of people that are actually just making it incredibly violent is a very small number. The problem is until we improve our intelligence gathering collectively with the GBI and FBI, we're really at a disadvantage.
Now, no tear gas was used last night at all when the 9 o'clock curfew came, and that's only about 55 minutes from now. When the 9 o'clock curfew came, everyone basically left a peaceful protest. But a few nights ago, they actually fired tear gas earlier than 9 o'clock, and the reason they did it is because objects were being thrown at the police. So far, we've not seen any water bottles coming our way. We do have security out here. We also have the gas mask just in case. I will tell you, one of the reasons we're standing where we are, it's not that we're standing on the side, one side or the other. We're not picking sides. What we're doing is we're upwind of any gas that would be deployed. Right now, the wind's blowing that way, and we want to be on this side, plus the police line's going to go that way. I can tell you right now, the shouting dies down from time to time, but people are upset out here, and we're seeing a lot more than we did last night. So we'll keep you informed as we get closer to that 9 o'clock curfew.
You know, Brendan, that's true. There's a whole lot more people out there tonight. I was going to ask you, and correct me if I'm wrong here. It appears that APD has now set up some barriers in front of the protesters between them and the other officers. Is this the first time that we've seen this, right, during the entire week?
Yeah, Yeah, let's take a closer look in, and I'm going to step back toward our photojournalist Jefferson so you can see. They're asking about the barricades. They actually came and fortified this barrier. So on previous nights, what we saw was a direct standoff between a line of police officers and a line of protesters. What we have now are the barriers. When I was a reporter in New York, we would see these all the time, these sort of steel pens. They interlock. Those have been put out in addition to some water-filled barriers that have been added. And that is creating a buffer zone because there aren't too many officers right up front. Where there are officers right up front, we're actually seeing a dialogue. There are officers who are walking up, apparently on their own. I don't know if you just saw a handshake in the frame. You had a protester shaking hands with a police officer. We saw one officer walk away in tears after a 30-minute conversation with protesters. So this dialogue everybody says has to happen, it is happening, but it's happening one-on-one when we also have group dynamics. And as you know, the individual is easy to get to, the group on either side, sometimes hard to open those lines of communication.
Yeah, there you go, Brendan. You got to be diplomatic, especially during a tense time like this. Thanks a lot. And we like to apologize to our viewers out there if you've heard any offensive language or saw any offensive signs. We apologize.
Well, curfew begins at 9 p.m. tonight, just about 50 minutes away. It will last until sunrise. Then beginning tomorrow through Sunday, curfew will begin a little earlier at 8 p.m. Now, the curfew does not apply to anyone who needs to seek medical help or those who are traveling to and from work or those who are homeless.
And as you saw earlier, we had some rain that came down on the protesters, and I'm not just worried about the rain, but also some thunder and lightning nearby with a lot of people outside. Now, I want to take you in closer, and you can see what we're watching. A few light showers in the downtown area. The heaviest rain with that thunder and lightning is just over to the east right now, along the north side of the perimeter and on the east side of the perimeter, with a really heavy rain going through DeKalb County. We have had a few lightning strikes there just on the DeKalb County side, so at least that lightning is not right on top of the protesters right now. Here's what we're watching. We do have some of the rain in the area. This is Centennial Olympic Park Drive right here, and there's Marietta Street right here, Lucky Street as well, and the radar is picking up just a couple of light showers there, and that's from this rain. We had the first batch that came through Metro Atlanta, and then it really intensified getting over on the east side, and then we had this in southwest Atlanta. That's what's over parts of the downtown area right now, but it's lighter and it's falling apart. But elsewhere, we have these really heavy showers in DeKalb County from Scottsdale up toward Tucker into Dorville, right there at Spaghetti Junction. This goes up 85 into Gwinnett County. Very heavy rain up in North Gwinnett. Also up around Lake Lanier with a lot of lightning on Lake Lanier. So I hope no one got caught on the lake as these storms move through, and then more of these to the north. Stay with us. We're going to keep a close eye on these showers. We'll let you know if any more will develop later on tonight. And we'll talk about an enhanced risk for rain, all rotating around what is going to be, again, Tropical Storm Cristobal. We'll give you the latest on that track coming up.
All right, Chris, we'll see you in a couple of minutes, sir. You know, the Hispanic and Latino communities are uniting to support the Black Lives Matter movement as these protests continue across our country. And they told 11Alive's Elma Lopez they understand more needs to be done even within their own communities.
The whole world shut down again. You know, I feel like we're kind of like in the middle of a revolution right now.
Roberto Hernandez, a Latino artist, says he knew he had to do something to show his support for those marching against racial injustice. Attending the protest, he says, wasn't an option because he had to meet his deadline, painting a mural at Plaza Fiesta on Buford Highway. But he didn't let that get in his way. He found another way to be a part of the movement with a little help from his friends.
It was a very humble protest.
Through music and signs he painted in both English and Spanish, saying, "We are all the same, todos somos iguales."
A few signs that say that the Latino community is an ally to the cause.
A small yet significant way to show his support.
Anything as little or as big as it can be, it can add so much power to the movement.
Like him, there are many others in support of the cause. The Latino Community Fund released a statement saying, quote, it recognizes the need to mobilize and organize against institutional racism and white supremacy.
So the work that we need to do is we need to do internal work in the Latinx community to dismantle white supremacy and colorism and racism first.
Gigi Pedraza, executive director of the organization, says they have committed to several points of action, including doing more to highlight the voices of Afro-Latinos in the community.
Learning from them, their experiences and how we can be better allies, it's the way to go.
Hernandez tells me he also plans on painting a mural in support of the African American community. He says it might take some time, but that he will make it happen.
Taking another live look at downtown Atlanta near Marietta Street and Centennial Olympic Park. We are just under an hour away from the start of another night of curfew here in the city of Atlanta. We again see that barrier right there where protesters have gathered for many, many nights. This is night 7. We'll, of course, continue to keep an eye on how things are looking downtown as we continue our broadcast.
And don't forget, we're streaming live right now on the 11Alive YouTube channel. Subscribe and join the conversation in the community section. We've got more 11Alive news prime time after the break. Stay with us.
Today at noon on 11Alive.
We are seeing that lack of smell or altered taste can be a symptom.
We answer your coronavirus-related medical questions. Because 11Alive is where Atlanta speaks.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11Alive today.
In times of great uncertainty, some things become more clear. The things we take for granted, the people we depend on daily. Here at 11Alive, we'd like to say thank you. First responders, medical staff, sanitation workers, truck drivers, postal workers, and every brave Georgian doing their part to make a difference. We see you, we hear you, and we appreciate all that you do.
Let's start with a viral message going around. Quote, vast majority of people who died had ibuprofen Advil in their system.
We continue to follow the protests in downtown Atlanta. This is an overhead look just outside of Centennial Olympic Park. The crowd's still rather large out there, and maybe just close to 40 minutes until the protest, not the protest rather, but excuse me, the curfew will go into place at 9 o'clock. We'll continue to track the situation there throughout the evening. Let's take a look now at this moment of brightness as we see this young little baby out part of these protests holding that Black Lives Matter sign. It was a moment that a lot of folks enjoyed to see out there. That baby standing, though, with some rain boots on and also standing on the wet pavement. We also saw this out there, some protesters dancing in the rain. That weather not really impacting the movement out there, not putting a damper on the folks out there. We did see some umbrellas come out earlier, but not even that many people decided to leave. The crowd's still rather large out there. Chris Holcomb, what are we expecting as we continue on into the evening?
Well, we're watching these showers and storms that have been moving through. A lot of these are now to the east of the city, and there has been some thunder and lightning in association with them too. As far as inside the perimeter right now, we're not seeing a lot of action. Just that one last lightning strike from a little bit earlier there, right over the line into DeKalb County. A little bit more lightning over here on the east side, and this is moving away. away. So we're hoping that the lightning is moving away from that area, and then the showers too are letting up somewhat as well. So it's still the potential for a couple of lighter showers in downtown for the next little while, but most of this is going to be moving away. I'll zoom in tighter to Centennial Olympic Park area. This is Centennial Olympic Park Drive right here. You can see some of those lighter showers over to the east near Peachtree Street. Also Cortland is where we have that back edge of the rain that continues to move on over to the east. And this is what we saw earlier. Those showers came through in the 7 o'clock hour right on top of downtown, but then as that moved to the north and east, it really kind of intensified here on the east side of the perimeter, and it continues to move up toward the north and east. We were also watching that area of rain coming that just kind of popped up on the southwest side. That started moving into downtown, but that part is falling apart too, and it's mainly just some lighter rain there now. And you can see these heavier showers over in DeKalb County toward Tucker, getting closer to Stone Mountain. That's where we see some of that lightning. Also near Spaghetti Junction, near Dorville, headed on up into the Norcross area, some of that heavier rain. And then up 85, still some scattered showers here, North Gwinnett County. Then moving up to around Lake Lanier, had a lot of really heavy rain and thunder and lightning at Lake Lanier earlier, and that's still in the north end of the lake, moving toward Gainesville and Hall County, and up into parts of Murrayville and northern Hall County, up into White County as well, some of those heavier showers, and that's all generally moving to the north and east, and I think those are going to be raining themselves out in just a little while. Elsewhere behind this, we're not seeing much activity. I think once we get rid of this, everything's going to start calming down a little bit more. This is a live look in Gwinnett County from the Chamber of Commerce, and we were seeing some of those darker storm clouds and some of those rain shafts in the distance as we're looking toward the north, toward the Suwannee area. But things are beginning to settle down now. Take a look at the temperatures, and you can see who got the rain-cooled air. Duluth, you have dropped down to 74. Gainesville is 74. Athens, you're 77. So that rain-cooled air is over to the east. We're still in the lower 80s in Atlanta, lower 80s in Marietta, also lower 80s over in Rome. Now, we're keeping a close eye on Tropical Storm Cristobal. We should be getting an intermediate advisory, most likely in our next half hour. But this is a tropical depression right now because it's over land, but it's not over yet. It's going to go back up over the water. And as it moves through the water, it's going to start gaining strength in the Gulf of Mexico, looking like it's going to get closer to landfall later on Sunday, right around the Louisiana coastline. We are on the right-hand side of this system, so what that's going to do is it's just going to pump a lot of Gulf moisture our way, and that's just going to keep us with some of those scattered showers throughout the period. 40% chance for that tomorrow. Down to 30% though on Saturday and Sunday as a little bit of drier air comes in, so those rain chances come down. But then as that system moves northward, we'll see more of that moisture coming in with scattered showers Monday and Tuesday, 40 to 50% chance of rain, as well as into Wednesday, then down to 30% on Thursday with high temperatures in the 80s throughout the period.
All right, Chris, thanks a lot. Here's a live look once again, downtown Atlanta, where we are just 40 minutes away from the deadline for the curfew here in Atlanta. You can see National Guardsmen are there and also protesters as well. They're dancing, chanting, hoping for a peaceful demonstration. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
As we continue to fight against the injustices, we have to be united. We have to stand together. And for me, this crowd is me.
With a viral message going around. Quote, vast majority of people who died had ibuprofen Advil in their system. This message is fake.
We just bought 20 dust masks for $97.
Are you doing this to help people, or are you doing this to make money, or both?
Both. Take this email sent to the Verify team. Is it safe to have your house cleaned by outside workers? The best practice is to limit guests to emergencies only.
We know things are changing every day, but we're here with you. Continuous COVID-19 coverage during primetime. We're committed to giving you facts, not fear. On 11Alive News Primetime, weeknights from 8 to 11 on WATF.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Today at noon on 11Alive.
We are seeing that lack of smell or altered taste can be a symptom.
We answer your coronavirus-related medical questions. Because 11Alive is where Atlanta speaks.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11Alive today.
In times of great uncertainty,
Here's a live look once again downtown Atlanta, and Hope Ford is live for us down there right now. Hope, what can you tell us from your vantage point?
Okay, so a lot of people are leaving from back at Centennial Olympic Park and Marietta Street because that curfew. We all just got the alerts on our phone. So a lot of people are heading down this way, and they're coming up on the National Guard. As we know, the National Guard has that line on the other side of Centennial Olympic Park. And the National Guard said, y'all keep the party going, y'all keep playing music. So that's what people did. They all started dancing out here. Some of the National Guard members have joined in to dance with them. So this is a completely different vibe. There are people taking pictures with the National Guard here right now. They're taking pictures, and they're all dancing together again. So a completely different vibe from probably what Brendan is seeing on the other side with that police line and those protesters at the beginning. But these are all the people that are kind of leaving and coming up on this line right now and decided, you know what, let's just have a dance before we head out for the night as that curfew approaches. So that's what we're seeing right now. The rain didn't stop them today, so now they're coming out here. It's kind of funny to see some of the National Guard members trying to jump in, but they're not getting the dance yet, but they trying out here. But you see kids out here, you see all races out here being represented, and they're just trying to have a good moment. They're having to have a good time out here. This has been going on probably for about 25 minutes now. They moved these vehicles in. Those vehicles you probably see on the other side. They moved those in, and they said, you know what, we're going to move these in because we have to, because that curfew's approaching. But we're going to go ahead and dance with you guys if you keep the party going. And so that's what you're seeing right now.
70s and 80s. Looks like there's a little electric slide in there at the same time.
Oh, so we actually have
the National Guard tries to.
If you guys can hear us.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can you guys hear us? Yeah, so we actually have the woman who put this all together, Tyson. If you could come over here for a second. You said that this is your speaker and this was all intentional.
Yes, it was. We came out here on Sunday, my cousin and I, and the atmosphere was so heavy. People were screaming F the police. It was very, very dark. Protesters were screaming at each other, and we kept saying, what can we do to change the energy? So every day we've come out here with that wall over there, and we have a different theme every day so people can write out how they're feeling. So today the theme was if we were all treated equally, and people write what they feel. Yesterday is we want our government to know, and we bring out this music every single day, and a few people were dancing the first day. We had a little bit more, and now today we have the National Guard dancing with us. I'm trying not to cry because this is all I wanted. From the day one, this is all we wanted to see, is real unity, because I know we're all hurting, and I know we're all in so much pain, because I have an 18-year-old son that I fear for his life every single day. But this is what it's gonna take. We can't fight hate with hate. We can't. So this is all we wanted, and I'm so happy right now. I'm beyond joyful right now. So happy.
Thank you so much for talking to me. Thank you. What's your name?
Amisha Harding.
Thank you so much, Amisha. Thank you. I appreciate you talking to us. So now you kind of get the. So and right now they just. So as you're seeing all this fun, you got to remember that curfew's coming up. So the lady you just heard from, I just saw a National Guard member walk up to her, take her aside, and go, "Hey, just so you know, in a few minutes we're gonna be putting up those shields, and when we start to put up those shields, we have to get people out of here." Right now there's a lot of kids out here. They don't want to start, having to disperse with tear gas or anything like that while there's children out here. And so this fun moment you're seeing right now, it's going to change here once it gets closer to curfew, because they want people to go home. They don't want anybody out here to get tear gas. They don't want anybody to get hurt. So I see her heading over to the microphone right now. So this is probably going to go on for a little bit longer, and they're going to start to shut that down. So that way you can see they're fist bumping everybody out here. It's a completely different vibe. And I'm glad our cameras are right here to witness this part of the protest in this moment. She's making that announcement.
And you know what, Hope? Can you hear me?
It's... yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, so I just want to say this is one of the most encouraging moments that we have seen since the protest started days ago. Just seeing the National Guardsmen get in a line, doing what we used to do, what I used to do back in the day with the electric slide, mixing it up with the folks who are protesting as well, showing that we are all human beings, and we want the same thing. We want peace, we want justice, and we don't want violence. And that actually was displayed in the video, the story that you and Tyson just captured right now. And it's encouraging. It really is encouraging.
It certainly is, and you could feel the emotion from that young lady as she was struggling to hold back tears. And I think that a lot of people have been pleasantly surprised by so many aspects of this. We had that group that Ryan Kruger marched with from Piedmont Park down to Centennial Olympic Park, who thought it might just be a small crowd of about 50 people, and then ended up with likely hundreds that were out there. So Hope, we are very glad that you were able to bring us that moment and speak with that young lady about what her goal was and to see it accomplished there.
Yeah, and it's the vibe is already kind of changing because, as I said, the curfew's coming. So she, one of the National Guard members took her aside, said, "Hey, we're having fun, we're enjoying this is great, but we have to do this now. We have to bring out the riot gear." And she got up there and she delivered it perfectly. She said, "Hey, you guys, don't be scared. They have to do this. They have to bring out the riot gear. It is not to scare you. It is to remind you that the curfew's coming in place." So that's what they're doing right now. They're bringing those out, because this is their job. This is the job part of it. So a lot of the protesters who are out here, who were dancing, they're going back the other way to take kind of a side angle. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, and I know we got this weird delay situation happening. Me at home, you out there on the street. But the one thing that I wanted to point out, I don't believe they will have been able to break down some of those barriers if over the past few days, and Jay Bell, obviously you saw this too, having the police officers go up there to the front lines before the curfew began to create this dialogue as well. And also APD doing the same thing. So hopefully it's a peaceful situation this evening. Stay with us, folks. We're going to be right back. We're just 29 minutes away from curfew.
We are seeing that lack of smell or altered taste can be a symptom.
We answer your coronavirus-related medical questions. Because 11Alive is where Atlanta speaks.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11Alive today.
In times of great uncertainty, some things become more clear. The things we take for granted, the people we depend on daily. Here at 11Alive, we'd like to say thank you. First responders, medical staff, sanitation workers, truck drivers, postal workers, and every brave Georgian doing their part to make a difference. We see you, we hear you, and we appreciate all that you do.
Let's start with a viral message going around. Quote, vast majority of people who died had ibuprofen Advil in their system. This message is fake.
We just bought 20 dust masks for $97.
Are you doing this to help people, or are you doing this to make money, or both?
Both. Take this email sent to the Verify team. Is it safe to have your house cleaned by outside workers? The best practice is to limit guests to emergencies only.
We know things are changing every day, but we're here with you. Continuous COVID-19 coverage during primetime. We're committed to giving you facts, not fear. On 11Alive News Primetime, weeknights from 8 to 11 on WATF.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Today at noon on 11Alive.
Welcome back, everyone. Here's a live look downtown Atlanta. We are just maybe 25 minutes away for the curfew to begin. Brendan Keefe is live on the scene. And Brendan, I'm a former police officer, as you know, and so are you. You noticed how a lot of the protesters were actually dancing with the National Guard. They were dancing, having a good time with APD, shaking hands, a lot of diplomacy taking place. But now that we're closer to the curfew, is there a change in tone, and is there a change in strategy with APD and the National Guard?
Yeah, really good question, Ron. You know, I was just an auxiliary police officer with the NYPD. You were on the job with Oakland for more than a decade, right? But I'll tell you that that was a beautiful moment, what we just saw from Hope's shot. There's just no two ways about it. But what we're seeing is different personalities in the crowd. Let me take you into the crowd, at least visually, so you can see. And apologies for any of the signs. We can't control what's displayed on the signs. What I could tell you is there is a palpable sense of anticipation here right now. The regular chanting has given way to essentially people waiting for what happens next. We're, what, 23 minutes away from the curfew? And we are seeing a change in stance. Very few people have left, if any, from the core part of the crowd. It is a much larger crowd than we saw last night, on the order of what we saw maybe Saturday or Sunday night. And that raises the question of whether they're going to deploy gas. So let's bring the camera around. I'm going to walk you over here. We've got a whole bunch of gear, so I apologize. These are the National Guard over here, and they've just been fortified with extra forces backing them up, filling in the holes. They also now have their shields, which they didn't have before. You see, they also have their armored vehicles. There are police beyond that point. So those folks are waiting also for the curfew. The question now, are they going to have to deploy the CS gas that we saw the nights before last night? They didn't have to do it last night because everyone peacefully left and dispersed. If they have to, it's going to be because people refuse to leave. And based on our measure of the crowd, I don't see anybody ready to pack up just yet. We'll have to keep an eye on it, Ron.
Yeah, that's true, Brendan. You know, just based upon what we're looking at, man, last night, I mean, obviously they had a lot of folks, but it seems like there's maybe 4 to 5 times as many people there tonight as there were last night. And just for folks who are joining us right now, you had pointed out about those barriers that's between them. I mean, they're actual structures, barriers between them, the protesters, and APD. I'm just curious to see, and you know, I'm sure you are too, what the strategy is going to be. Are they going to move those barriers out of the way and push the folks down the street, those who stay? Any indication what that really tactic may be tonight?
Yeah, let's take a look as we walk back over here. And these are the barricades that you were talking about, Ron. They're steel barricades. Like when I was an auxiliary in NYPD, those are barricades that I would man on that side. They're not interconnected for the most part, so these would be easy to push out of the way. There are zip ties holding a couple of them together. The others are water-filled barriers, but it's interesting from a tactical standpoint that the water-filled barriers, they're not going to be able to push those out of the way. Those steel barriers, they can push those out of the way. Here's what I'm watching, having been through situations like this going back 30 years now. I'm watching these guys and the officers. They have their gas mask at the ready. I want to see, are they going to put them on? When I see them put their gas masks on, that's when things are about to get hairy out here. We haven't seen that happen yet, but we have seen them definitely add more forces here. They're not putting them right up to the line, which is interesting. The officers that are behind me right up at the line are just there to sort of patch the holes in it.
All right, Brendan, you know, Jay Bell, he points out something that's really important here, and that is, and we've seen this in other nights, as soon as the guardsmen or the guard personnel and you see APD, they put on that gas mask, if you're a journalist, you better put the gas mask on because they are about to fire tear gas. Last night, we didn't see that. We didn't see that, Jay Bell, and hopefully we don't see it again tonight.
Yeah, and maybe they may put it on and kind of gauge the scene, see how the crowd is reacting, and if they do see what we saw last night and folks start to head on home, we'll see what we saw last night, and that's them taking the gas masks off and pulling back and being able to kind of shut things down a little sooner than we have seen in the past. Let's continue to remain on the ground there. Let's go out to Hope Ford, who just brought us that moment that we can't stop talking about, seeing those protesters and the Guard members from Georgia National Guard out there together. Hope, we know at that point they were kind of giving them the word, hey, the curfew is on the way, so go ahead and start making your preparations to go ahead and head home. What are you seeing out there now?
So obviously the National Guardsmen, they did, set up those. It was, can I just say it was a sad moment to see because they were smiling so big after dancing with everyone, and then they realized, oh yeah, now I gotta do this. So some of their faces literally dropped as they picked up those shields, put on their helmets, and they're like, okay, now we got to do this part of the job. But people were in good spirits when they were turning around and walking away. There are people heading into the crowd right now. They just walked by us. People heading into the crowd right now saying, hey, all right, it's time to go home. And you're probably looking at that dancing video right now. One of the generals actually came up to me and he said, yeah, that was a great moment. That was probably the most fun I had all week. So to see, and if you didn't see that a couple of minutes ago, it was people out here who were dancing with the National Guard. The woman who put that together said this was intentional. She'd seen videos where just things look so tense. So she wanted to come out here. She wanted to put up a loudspeaker and play some music. She said it took a couple of days. It took a couple of days for people to start, dancing and having fun. And then she said today, the National Guard came out. She actually started crying because she was just so happy that, everyone's spirits were lifted, even if that moment was kind of temporary. And then, the National Guard walked over and said, hey, we're having fun, but, it's getting close to curfew. We want people to go home safely. And so that's what she did. She got back on the loudspeaker, and because they had to come out there with their shields and get those up. So if you're taking I don't know if you guys are still watching the dancing video or if you're taking a live look, okay, great. So there are people who are going through the crowd and they're saying, hey, remember the time, it's time to go home. There's actually a green sign. I don't know if you can see that green sign in the crowd there, but that green sign, she's walking around with a loudspeaker telling people that it is time to go home. So you see a lot of people that are walking this way. If they walk that way, they're going to meet the National Guard. So they are trying to walk in different areas right now to try to kind of get away from the National Guard. The National Guard's letting a couple of people kind of go to around the right of them. But you see that the crowd is starting to thin out. This is what we've seen for the last few nights, is when it gets to this time. And the organizers, they know that what can happen if people aren't out of this area at 9 o'clock. They know that tear gas is going to be fired. They know that the police are going to start to move, which is why I've seen over the last couple of nights them making sure they're going through the crowd, several of them, saying, hey, it's time to go home. Look at the time. It's time to go home. And reminding them, come back tomorrow. We're going to be back here tomorrow. So that's what you're seeing as of this moment.
All right, Hope, thank you so much. We know those notifications have gone out to the phones. We're allowed 20 minutes until curfew time, so we'll continue to check back in with you guys there on the ground. Speaking of the ground, we do see some of those puddles of water out there. Meteorologist Chris Holcomb tracking the forecast. And Chris, not too long ago, we were hearing a heavy rain here in our studio in Midtown.
Yeah, and the problem is this isn't only just rain, that we've had some lightning with some of these showers and storms. Luckily, the lightning hasn't been right on top of where Centennial Park is located and where many of the protesters are. Now, we had some of those showers that came through earlier. What just came over the station is this right here. That was really heavy. We did have a little bit of thunder and lightning with that too. That heaviest rain that was on the east side of the perimeter has now moved off. You've got just a little bit of, this is Centennial Olympic Park Drive right here. A little bit of light rain. That last little bit is moving on over to the east. And then you can see these heavier showers that we had earlier on the east side of the perimeter. That now is moving on up to the north into Gwinnett County, where we have some really heavy rain up 85 up toward North Gwinnett County that's coming in. And we already had some really heavy rain around Lake Lanier with thunder and lightning. And now another batch of rain is moving in there as well. Stay with us. We'll keep tracking any additional showers that are around and talk about more rain chances as we go through the next few days. And a lot of that is going to be enhanced by Cristobal. We'll talk more about that coming up. Stay with us. We have more to come on Primetime.
Sanitation workers, truck drivers, postal workers, and every brave Georgian doing their part to make a difference. We see you, we hear you, and we appreciate all that you do.
Let's start with a viral message going around. Quote, vast majority of people who died had ibuprofen Advil in their system. This message is fake.
We just bought 20 dust masks for $97.
Are you doing this to help people, or are you doing this to make money, or both?
Both. Take this email sent to the Verify team. Is it safe to have your house cleaned by outside workers? The best practice is to limit guests to emergencies only.
We know things are changing every day, but we're here with you. Continuous COVID-19 coverage during primetime. We're committed to giving you facts, not fear. On 11Alive News Primetime, weeknights from 8 to 11 on WATF.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Today at noon on 11Alive.
We are seeing that lack of smell or altered taste can be a symptom.
We answer your coronavirus-related medical questions. Because 11Alive is where Atlanta speaks.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11Alive today.
Let's start with a viral message going around. Quote, vast majority of people who died had ibuprofen Advil in their system. This message is fake.
We just bought 20 dust masks for $97.
Are you doing this to help people, or are you doing this to make money, or both?
Both. Take this email sent to the Verify team. Is it safe to have your house cleaned by outside workers? The best practice is to limit guests to emergencies only.
The 11Alive storm trackers continue to track some of these showers and thunderstorms that are out there. I want to take you into downtown right now as things are a little quieter. We had some showers and storms that rolled through a little bit earlier. Now we're watching this rain that's going up 85, still inside the perimeter, but it is weakening somewhat. It was a lot heavier earlier, and we had some of these showers that came through downtown around Centennial Olympic Park. Now this is showing us right there at Centennial Olympic Park Drive, just a couple little light showers. That's the last little bit that's going to keep moving moving through. That's really just kind of a blip there on the radar. So things are going to be drier inside the perimeter for the rest of the night. We're just watching this move through. As those showers and storms moved up to the north and east, there's still with some heavy rain here up 85 toward the Suwannee area in North Gwinnett. We do have some lightning still right at the North Fulton line there into Gwinnett County near Johns Creek up toward Big Creek. We had some really heavy rain that came over Lake Lanier earlier with some thunder and lightning. That's moving up toward the north, but now we have this next batch that's going to come through. Some lightning with it, just not as much as what we had a little bit earlier. Now that rain is moving up toward Gainesville and Lula and on up toward the north into parts of White County, continuing to move to the north and east. And that will keep moving out, and these showers will kind of die out a little bit as they move on up toward the north and the east. Elsewhere behind this, not much activity going on. A couple of spotty showers over in Alabama. There will still be a really low risk for some scattered showers still out there tonight, but I think things are going to be calming down. This is a live look in Gwinnett County at our tower cam there in Duluth. Right there, we're looking over the roof of the Infinite Energy Arena. You can see a couple of raindrops there on the lens and some of the dark clouds. It was a heavier rain over that shot just a little while ago. Notice the yellow color over to the east. That's where we have rain-cooled air. 75 in Duluth, 77 in Athens. Gainesville, you just dropped down to 67 as the rain moved through, but we're still in the 80s here in Atlanta, 80s down in Peachtree City as well. We're going to keep an eye on Cristobal. We're waiting for another intermediate advisory on this storm, and we're going to see that it is still at 35 miles an hour. It's a tropical depression over land. It's not finished though. It's going to move up over water and regain tropical storm strength, and then through the weekend nearing the coastline here of Louisiana. We think that's going to be late on Sunday, and then Monday it'll be moving inland. We're on the right hand side of this, so it's going to continue to pump a lot of moisture our way, just enhancing that Gulf moisture, giving us a few scattered showers. So we'll keep with scattered showers Friday. 40% chance. Slightly lower rain chances Saturday and Sunday at 30%. Back to 40% Monday, 50% on Tuesday, and then coming down a little bit on Wednesday and Thursday with highs in the 80s. More Primetime is up next.
For $97.
Are you doing this to help people, or are you doing this to make money, or both?
Both. Take this email sent to the Verify team. Is it safe to have your house cleaned by outside workers? The best practice is to limit guests to emergencies only.
We know things are changing every day, but we're here with you. Continuous COVID-19 coverage during primetime. We're committed to giving you facts, not fear. On 11Alive News Primetime, weeknights from 8 to 11 on WATF.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Today at noon on 11Alive.
We are seeing that lack of smell or altered taste can be a symptom.
We answer your coronavirus-related medical questions. Because 11Alive is where Atlanta speaks.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11Alive today.
In times of great uncertainty, some things become more clear. The things we take for granted, the people we depend on daily. Here at 11Alive, we'd like to say thank you. First responders, medical staff, sanitation workers, truck drivers, postal workers, and every brave Georgian doing their part to make a difference. We see you. We hear you. and we appreciate all that you do.
Let's start with a viral message going around. Quote, vast majority of people who died had ibuprofen Advil in their system. This message is fake.
We just bought 20 dust masks for
All right, Brendan Keith reporting live downtown right now. I have a gas mask on. I pulled it back a little just so you can hear me better. Everybody has their gas masks on. That means the police and the National Guard. That's why I have mine on at the ready. It seems as though the deployment of CS tear gas is imminent. This is what we saw on Saturday night and Sunday night when I was out here. We saw it every night except for last night. There is a core group of protesters who are still up there at the line, and they have their hands up, and they're saying, hands up, don't shoot. It's a core group of maybe 200 that have remained here, but the police and the National Guard have put on their gas masks, which is a very strong indication that they're about to fire the gas. Where we are right here is upwind of the gas. I'm a little bit more comfortable. That's why I have my gas mask pulled back. But essentially, they did not have to do this last night. They did not have to deploy the gas last night. They were able to get people to pull back without having to deploy the gas. That's not happening tonight. It's very clear that if in the next 5 minutes, when the curfew comes into effect, they don't deploy, or rather they don't disperse, they are going to deploy the CS tear gas. This is an irritant. It's banned by many conventions in warfare. That's because it's kind of a gateway chemical. There's a fear that if you use it, then they'll use bigger chemical weapons on the other side, but they are allowed for domestic police use against American citizens. I can tell you from the other night, it does irritate the skin. If it gets in your nose and throat, it reacts with the moisture in there, and it is incapacitating, which makes you get out of the way. We're going to be here live right at the top of the curfew to give you a report, but for now, that is the story. Downtown Atlanta, we'll see you in a few moments.
Let's start with a viral message going around. Quote, vast majority of people who died had ibuprofen Advil in their system. This message is fake.
We just bought 20 dust masks for $97.
Are you doing this to help people, or are you doing this to make money, or both?
Both. Take this email sent to the Verify team. Is it safe to have your house cleaned by outside workers? The best practice is to limit guests to emergencies only.
We know things are changing every day, but we're here with you. Continuous COVID-19 coverage during primetime. We're committed to giving you facts, not fear. On 11Alive News Primetime, weeknights from 8 to 11 on WATF.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Today at noon on 11Alive.
We are seeing that lack of smell or altered taste can be a symptom.
We answer your coronavirus-related medical questions. Because 11Alive is where Atlanta speaks.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11Alive today.
In times of great uncertainty,
We are 3 minutes away from curfew, and you see this crowd has not dispersed in the least out there, even despite rain coming down hard at some points. Protesters still standing face to face with the front line as curfew fast approaches. Last night, a much different story as they got out of there long ahead of curfew, and the scene was cleared out within 8 minutes. Tonight, we could see something very different.
Yeah, we do see some have left, but it does appear that that front line of Georgia National Guard members has increased. That is a much larger presence behind those barricades than we have seen last night and previous nights. We know the rain was out there earlier. That was not a detriment to the crowds out there. So we're going to have to see how things go as these minutes wind down to the curfew.
And you know, Brendan Keefe, he was live on the scene for us tonight. And Brendan, the last time that we talked to you, you were wearing a gas mask because the National Guard was wearing a gas mask, and you know what's going to happen next. What's the tone out there right now?
It's pretty interesting, Ron. Here, let me pull it back a little bit where it's a tad safer right now. I'm wearing this gas mask. I'm not taking it off because the people behind me are wearing gas masks. When the police put on gas masks and the National Guard put on gas masks, you put on your gas mask. I've got it here ready to just press against my face. Here we go. Listen.
Police Department, under Executive Order 2020-92, Code Section 2-181, after 9 p.m., no pedestrian shall stand or transverse on any city street, sidewalks, or parking lots. Any person who refuses to disperse are in violation of this order and is subject to arrest. The time is now 8:59.
There you have it. All right, so 8:59. That's 8:59. That's the call of 8:59. So they're giving them fair warning. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to sit here and wait for a few seconds to see what happens next. But obviously the warning is they're going to fire tear gas, and that's pretty clear by everybody wearing gas masks at this point. We're upwind. I feel pretty safe where we are. We've also got security with us. What we have is the Georgia National Guard, Atlanta Police right behind us, and we're seeing people not dispersing. One thing they keep saying, they chanting back there, is keep it peaceful. So even while they're standing there and refusing to leave into the curfew, they're yelling, "Peace, keep it peaceful." The other thing they're chanting is say his name and then George Floyd. Okay, this is pretty much 9 o'clock, folks. We just heard an alarm go off or a bell. Let's see what happens. All right, we're hearing,
Brendan,
I'm not hearing what's coming over the radio, but based on a radio call, go ahead. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just going to ask you, I know they're getting into place tactically. Any of the protesters or anyone throwing any objects over there towards the police or National Guardsmen?
Yeah, interestingly, they're not, Ron. The last couple of nights, or the last couple of nights when they did fire tear gas, not last night, they were throwing water bottles and other objects. We haven't seen any of that tonight. So there hasn't been any violence directed toward the police or the National Guard tonight. They have kept it peaceful, loud but peaceful. Some people are beginning to disperse, but others are hanging around. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens next at this point. I saw them shaking the barricade a few minutes ago, but that's it. Other than that, what we've actually seen is a lot of dialogue between individual officers and protesters. So at this point, it's a waiting game. We're going to see what happens. There's a tension in the air.
The metal barrier. Sorry, Brendan, the metal barrier that was there in front of the police, have they moved that out of the way? I know they couldn't move the plastic ones filled with water on the sides, but those metal barriers, are they out of the way so they could advance?
Yes, it appears they are, Ron. It appears they're out of the way. It's hard for me to see from here. I do have a camera sort of on a pole. But it does appear that the metal barricade and that is obviously so the police and the National Guard can move forward with the line. We're still seeing a core group of protesters right up in front with the clenched fists in the air in sign of solidarity. And there's still some signs in the air. One says, "Am I next?" But right now, you could hear a pin drop out here other than the police radios. The National Guard does have their shields up, their masks down, their face shields down, and they also have their gas masks on. And all you can hear essentially is a hovering police helicopter overhead. That's it.
Well, obviously, really tense situation, ladies. As you can see, that more of the demonstrators are still moving up to the front line and refusing to leave. Hopefully, this ends peacefully, but it appears that it may not. Now that we're 2 minutes into the curfew, Aisha and J-Bell.
Yeah, it does appear that this crowd is now seemingly forming their own formation. At first, right around 9 o'clock, we saw them starting to scatter, but now it looks like they have come back to a formation to go face to face with that front line. Let's get back to the ground now with Hope Ford to tell us what she's seeing as curfew is in effect 3 minutes after.
Yeah, so we're on the other end right now. We're at the corner of Walton Street and Centennial Olympic Park, excuse me. We've seen a lot of people come this way as they're trying to make their way, home at this point in time. Behind us, that is that line of National Guard that were just dancing with protesters, and now they have their shields up. They're making a little hole for people to get around so that they can, go home and go on to the rest of downtown. And then on Walton Street, there's also a line of National Guard right there as well. So there's more National Guard, in the park, and so we're just kind of waiting to see at this point. We haven't seen anyone walk towards that area where Brendan is right now, but we have seen quite a few people, walking away. A lot of people walking away with supplies that they had brought as well. There are a couple of people who are out here who have on red patches that say first aid. So there are a couple of people that were just back here. They walked more up towards the front just a few minutes ago. And right before the curfew, probably 10 minutes before, there were people who were going through the crowd with loudspeakers and were saying, hey, it's, check your watch, look at the time, it's time to go home, come back tomorrow. And that a lot of people left at that point in time. You can see that there's still that kind of crowd out right there right now. There's still, there's a couple of people hanging out right there as well. But so people wearing first aid, they have moved up there. All of the National Guard, they are standing by ready at this point in time. So we're waiting to see what happens at this point, and if they get to just walk away after a while, or if they will start to use tear gas here in a few minutes.
All right, Hope, thank you. We're seeing an overhead shot right now. That is the corner of Marietta and Centennial Olympic Park Drive, and it does look as if many of these protesters are still up there having a very passionate conversation with what appears to be an Atlanta police officer there. You see a lot of the cell phones still up, and it looks like they're talking, and maybe that is why we have not seen any major action take place as we have in previous nights. We do see those officers back there with their shields ready. We did hear from Brendan Keefe that it appears they had moved some of those metal barricades out of the way. So we do see that conversation happening right there, almost in the direct center of your screen there. So that might be why we have not seen any of the advancing of the law enforcement presence as we usually see right around that 9 o'clock curfew. We are now 6 minutes after that curfew. And again, this appears to be a couple dozen people, a core group of protesters that are still right there up front. We have seen a majority, we will say, a majority of that crowd that has been out there. We've seen them disperse. But again, you see a lot of cell phones up right now. It does appear as if this officer is speaking to the crowd. Not clear what he's saying, if he's maybe encouraging them to go ahead and go home. But again, we're going to continue to watch and monitor what's going on. But that's what it appears to be right now, that there's some sort of conversation going on. Maybe that is why we have not seen what we have seen in previous nights, last night being excluded because last night we did see a lot of folks leave.
I was checking it out too.
Go ahead, Ron.
Sorry about that, but I'm checking it out on different various sources out here other than what we're seeing there, and it appears that that an Atlanta captain or some kind of command officer is dealing with one person. It seems like there's one person who's actually kind of in charge of the crowd. I don't know if I should use the term in charge of the crowd, but he's the spokesperson for the crowd, and he's trying to get him to cooperate so that everyone else would leave and go home. Not quite sure what the conversation's all about, but the good thing here is there is dialogue, right? They're talking, but at some point, some action or non-action is going to take place. But I believe that it's going to be more action than non-action, and of course, we don't want to see what has happened in other parts of the country where it turns violent.
And a different scene from last night, A, because this conversation is happening, and B, because they have not moved in. Last night they moved in 30 seconds after 9 o'clock. Here we are approaching 9:08, and they are allowing that crowd to sort of still mill about and have this conversation with whoever this is, Ron, that you've identified there at the very front of the front line. And I think what's interesting is that so many people have their phones out. So while we can't hear what's being said, it is being streamed all over social media, which has been not only Centennial Olympic Park as an epicenter, but social media has been an epicenter because so many of these cases that got us to this point went viral online, unfolded online. So that's really a new aspect that's being introduced, as you see in the crowd, all the lights flashing with people having their cell phones up. Cell phone video has advanced us so far as it relates to what we know and what we see, things that we would have not been privy to before. So I think that's a very interesting take, that so many people feel the need to automatically capture these encounters, not knowing what's going to happen. Even if we have live footage, again, we're not in the thick of it and able to hear.
Yeah, and we're hearing from our Hope Ford, who is on the ground, that they are issuing another warning people that we are beyond the curfew now. We're going up on 10 minutes after the curfew, and it's time to head home. When we heard that curfew live not too long ago from Brendan Keith, they said the streets, the sidewalks, the parking lots, and last night, it was about 9:08, and it seemed like the whole area had mostly cleared out. Compare that to right now, where we see this group that is remaining out there. I will say it does look like it's dispersing a little bit. Folks, maybe not quite leaving, but we're seeing some action there at the top right-hand part of your screen. We're seeing the National Guardmen's moving. Let's go to Brendan Keefe on the ground right now.
I don't know, guys, if you can hear me. The line is moving forward. The line is moving forward. The National Guard and the police. It looks like it was a small enough crowd at this point. They didn't have to fire the tear gas, but no one's taken off their tear gas or their gas masks either. So the line is moving forward. There weren't that many protesters left. There was a discussion, as you described. We're seeing one arrest right in front of us right now, but that's it. Other than they're moving the line down, as we have seen night after night. They're moving forward. Again, no tear gas fired at this point. They just simply moved the line forward, and it looks like the protesters have started to retreat.
All right, let's
go over to Hope.
Yeah, let's get forward. Let's get over to Hope Ford now.
Okay, so we're live right now. You can see that line is moving down right now. We haven't had any tear gas deployed. That line is moving closer. There are a couple of people who, they are running away, kind of trying to get out the way here right now. But as you can see, it looks like it's a standoff between a couple of gentlemen at the front line there. They're still a little bit away from us, so I can't really see but as they are coming toward us, there looks like there's one man who's trying to pull an associate back, and I don't know if you could hear that, but they just dropped the shields. So we do see that there's one guy that was punching the shields. His friends are trying to pull him back at this point in time. We can't hear what they're saying. We can't hear that conversation right now. But they are, they are up there. There's a lot of phones out there. As they're kind of filming this interaction, police are moving forward again. There's really nobody else out here aside from these people that you see right there.
And Hope, I do want to say, I know we're looking at this one gentleman in the white top, and he was the one who it seemed as if a friend was trying to hold him back, and now we see that a guardsman or an officer has moved him off to the side. Hopefully, it looks like their intent was to kind of continue the road clearing that was taking place until that that confrontation right there. So it's not clear what's going on with that one gentleman, but it appears that they're as if they were trying to move him away from the larger crowd so that people would continue to disperse.
And I think what's very telling is the fact that that National Guardsman moved him out of the way politely when he could have easily arrested him because it's 9/12 and that's the rule. But instead, it looks like he exercised a high level of restraint and de-escalation, which a lot of people have been talking about, de-escalation training. And from what we just witnessed, that's what that looked like to me, Ron. I don't know if you can chime in on that, but he politely moved him to the side, a loud, angry person who was very passionate, you know, in his exchange, and the National Guardsman just moved him out of the way to get out of the area.
Yeah, it seems like it's, if I can, I don't know if this is a tactical term, but passive aggressive, you know, just like you pointed out. Last night and previous nights, they moved in quickly, and within 8 minutes, it was all over. But I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to get him away from there to keep him from sparking up any type of agitation with the other protesters or demonstrators and making this bigger than what it should be. And think about this. Look at all the press that's around him.
Yeah.
I mean, you got national press from all over the place are there, local press as well. They don't want an ugly scene tonight that's going to end up on the 11 o'clock news, no matter where you are, whether it's the West Coast or the East Coast. So I think that what they normally do, Aisha and J. Bill, is this is all part of their strategy as well, to think about, you know, their intelligence units. They go out there and they find out what is going to be the strategy of those protesters or those who are demonstrating. Is there someone there that's going to try to agitate the situation? And so they respond accordingly. So they're like, well, we got to mix things up. We can't just go at them, you know, really hard. We got to mix things up. And I believe that's Hope Ford's camera there, live on the scene for us.
Yeah, and it looks, Ron, as if that conversation is still happening with that Georgia National Guard member who removed that young man from the main drag there on Centennial Olympic Drive. It looks as if they are still holding this conversation in the midst of this crowd surrounding them. And, you know, in addition to, you mentioned the press being there, we've also seen a large presence of people with their cell phones up. And, you know, that might be part of their strategy as well to kind of get this young man out of the street, get him away from other people that are filming as well. Let's go now to Hope Ford again on the ground to see if she has any additional information for us.
Okay, so I just want to point out this police officer was having a conversation with these gentlemen as they were walking to their cars. And so you see that officer right there. He was having a conversation. It was a calm conversation. They're trying to get him to walk away. We're getting surrounded with National Guardsmen right now because they said, all right, now we have to do it. Don't know if that meant arrest them. Don't know if that meant deploy tear gas. But that is what you saw at one time.
And Hope, I know you can attest to the fact that this is a level of restraint.
All right, they're about to do.
Hey, Hope, what is the conversation? What is the officer saying to the gentleman?
Okay, they're calling for a sergeant because they're trying to get through. They're saying, "Please go home." They're begging. They're saying, "Let them through."
Hey, get them to their cars.
So that is the National Guard that they were kind of ran up against, and the police stepped in behind us. That was Atlanta police that came in and said, "Hey," to let them through. We did just hear another officer scream out, "Make the arrest." So that's what you're seeing and hearing right now as they make their way through to their cars in this parking lot over here.
Yeah, like Aisha said, this does appear to be some action to de-escalate.
So it's clear at this point.
Hope's going to continue out there, but again,
and Hope,
this does
is there
look
anyone
like
else behind you? I'm sorry,
Right
ladies.
now-
Is there anyone behind you other than the
Excuse me,
protesters?
everyone has gone home. You're good. Yeah, everyone has gone home. That group that you, and again, want to point out, they police with that police officer that side. They ran up against the car.
We apologize for the trouble we're having with that live shot out there, but it did appear like Hope was saying that most other folks near her had gone home. Let's check in now with Brendan Keefe to see if the area is kind of cleared where he is. Brendan, how's it looking?
Yes, actually things, the temperature has come down quite a bit. You see I'm not wearing my gas mask. That's because all of these National Guard soldiers and also the Atlanta police officers, there was an order given out over the radio. They all stowed their gas masks. That makes me a lot more comfortable. It's still at the ready. What we have here is multiple fronts, multiple lines. There's a line right here of National Guard and also Atlanta police. There's some more coming up. There's a second line up there. I think we're very close to where Hope Ford was. There's still these sort of little standoff skirmishes going on, but the temperature has dropped, so to speak, quite dramatically. Let me also bring you this way because there's a second line. So let me tell you where we are. We're kind of between Lucky Street and Marietta Street, right near the construction site that's next to the Ferris wheel. There's more National Guard here, but then in the distance, there's another line, including of Humvees. If you pan a little to the right, Jefferson, in the background, you can see there's a line of National Guard Humvees and other support vehicles. That's an additional line. The other night we saw kind of one line, one front, if you will, but now we're seeing multiple fronts in different parts of this section of downtown. It was a really small group at the end. It appears that so there was a period of détente, right, where they kind of came to an agreement, and some guys decided to leave. There was a core group that said, no, we're not going to leave. What's amazing is the restraint, because I'll be honest with you, I'm really surprised tear gas wasn't deployed. It had been deployed for 5 of the 6 nights. Here on night 7, after night 6 again, no tear gas so far. That could change, but when I saw the gas mask go away, I figured the tear gas is probably not going to be deployed. We're starting to see a tactical redeployment right now. Actually, what we're seeing is the National Guard soldiers are stepping out of the way because a line of Atlanta police with riot gear on are now making their way through. Again, just like we saw the other night, tremendous amount of coordination here. There are 1- and 2-word orders going out, and everybody's following them to the letter. Looks like Atlanta police is tactically redeploying back to the original line. They're heading back towards Marietta Street. The National Guard soldiers are remaining here, but at this end, they're probably going to hold the line to hold the perimeter, but they're going to retreat back to essentially what was the original line and their command center.
All right, Brendan, thank you. We're going to keep a close eye on our crews on the ground. We are 20 minutes into the 9 p.m. curfew. Very little escalation out there. We saw a couple of spots. We're going to keep an eye on that. Stay with us. You're watching 11 Alive News Primetime.
Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Today at noon on 11 Alive.
We are seeing that lack of smell or altered taste can be a symptom.
We answer your coronavirus-related medical questions. Because 11 Alive is where Atlanta speaks.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11 Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11 Alive today.
In times of great uncertainty, some things become more clear. The things we take for granted, the people we depend on daily. Here at 11Alive, we'd like to say thank you. First responders, medical staff, sanitation workers, truck drivers, postal workers, and every brave Georgian doing their part to make a difference. We see you, we hear you, and we appreciate all that you do.
Let's start with a viral message going around. Quote, vast majority of people who died had ibuprofen Advil in their system. This message is fake.
We just bought 20 dust masks for $97.
Are you doing this to help people, or are you doing this to make money, or both?
Both. Take this email sent to the Verify team. Is it safe to have your house cleaned by...
All right, welcome back here, 11Alive News in Primetime. We are taking a live look over downtown Atlanta. Protests have sort of come to a conclusion based on the 9 p.m. curfew that is now in effect. We are 23 minutes into the curfew, looking at Marietta Street and Centennial Olympic Park Drive, where the National Guard and Atlanta Police have set up shop. Before we went to break, we saw them trying to disperse the last little bit of the crowd. We're going to take you back to our reporters on the ground, but first, let's get a look of your forecast with Chief Meteorologist Chris Holcomb. Chris.
Yeah, Aisha, you know, we had some showers downtown a little bit earlier that came down on some of the protesters and down at Centennial Olympic Park. It has pretty much all fallen apart, though, now. We don't really have a lot going on inside the perimeter at this hour. This is all that's left. A little bit of light rain up 85 there inside the perimeter around Shallowford Road, Chamblee Tucker Road, closer to Spaghetti Junction. But earlier, some of that rain was a little bit heavier as it came through Centennial Olympic Park, also Piedmont Park, and then it really intensified as it moved up 85 around Spaghetti Junction, and now more of this heavy rain in parts of Gwinnett County going up 85, even a little bit of lightning left over right there around Buford near the Mall of Georgia at that 985 and 85 split, with that heavier rain getting closer to move into Auburn and also into Brazelton. That's over into Barrow County and also up into Jackson County. Heavy rain right now over Lake Lanier. We had one batch that came through Lake Lanier earlier with a lot of thunder and lightning. That has moved to the north and east. That's what's over Lula right now. Now the second batch is over Lake Lanier. We're not seeing much in the form of lightning with that, but just another batch of really heavy rain moving through. And then that thunder and lightning beginning to diminish somewhat over parts of White County, moving into Habersham County and also into Rabun County as those storms are weakening a little bit. We're keeping our eye on this storm. That just kind of developed near Marietta, right there at 575 and 75 in the northern part of Cobb. That's moving into southern Cherokee County. Parts of North Fulton will see some of that. Just mainly heavy rain. We're not seeing a lot of lightning with that. We might see a little bit of lightning develop with that one. And then elsewhere, north and west Georgia, not much activity moving through right now. This is a live look. This is our tower cam in Gwinnett County. I know it's kind of dark there. We're looking over the roof of the Infinite Energy Arena where we had some of those heavier showers just a little bit earlier. Notice where you see that greenish color north and east of the city. That's where we have that rain coming through, and that has really cooled things off a little bit. Gainesville is at 68 degrees right now. Clayton, you're 67. Duluth is 75. Now, even though Atlanta had some rain, it was a lot warmer earlier, but now it's ticked down to about 80 degrees here, and then we have some 70s over to the south and west of us. Here's the latest on Cristobal, now a tropical depression. It has weakened to maximum winds of 35 miles an hour since it's over land, but I don't want you to hear it made landfall and think it's over, because the storm is going to come back out over water, and as it does that in the Gulf of Mexico, it's going to regain strength again, and we think it'll make landfall here in Louisiana later on Sunday, and then Monday be inland. And then for us, we're right over here on the right-hand side of the storm, so that's just going to enhance a lot of moisture coming in off the Gulf of Mexico. That is going to keep us with those scattered showers that we're going to have around. So tomorrow, a 6 on the wasometer, 40% chance for showers in the afternoon, and highs near 87 degrees. And then we're going to keep that same pattern as we go through the weekend. About a 30% chance for showers. I think we'll see lower rain chances Saturday and Sunday, and then scattered showers Monday and Tuesday. Those highest chances we think are coming in on Tuesday at 50%, and then lowering to 40% Wednesday, back to 30% on Thursday with highs in the mid-80s.
All right, Chris, thank you so much. We are taking another live look at downtown Atlanta right now, where a 7th night of protests are wrapping up. We are about 26 minutes, 27 nearly, into the curfew here, and it seems as if the crowd has been largely dispersed. We're going to continue to monitor the situation and check in with our crews on the ground in just a few moments.
Today at noon on 11Alive.
We are seeing that lack of smell or altered taste can be a symptom.
We answer your coronavirus-related medical questions. Because 11Alive is where Atlanta speaks.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11Alive today.
Let's start with a viral message going around. Quote, vast majority of people who died had ibuprofen Advil in their system. This message is fake.
We just bought 20 dust masks for $97.
Are you doing this to help people, or are you doing this to make money, or both?
Both. Take this email sent to the Verify team. Is it safe to have your house cleaned by outside workers? The best practice is to limit guests to emergencies only.
We know things are changing every day, but we're here with you. Continuous COVID-19 coverage during primetime. We're committed to giving you facts, not fear. On 11Alive News Primetime, weeknights from 8 to 11 on WATF.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Today at noon on 11Alive.
We are seeing that lack of smell or altered taste can be a symptom.
We answer your coronavirus-related medical questions. Because 11Alive is where Atlanta speaks.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11Alive today.
Another live look, 9:30, just about on the dot in downtown Atlanta. This is night 7 of the protests we have been following here following the death of George Floyd in Minneapolis. The streets look rather clear right now. We're going to get you to the ground with our Brendan Keith, who has a better vantage point to tell us what's going on. Brendan?
Well, the tension down here has definitely, the level has dropped because they have been able to clear the streets quickly, really without incident. A few arrests we saw, but we saw no violence either way. We saw no tear gas. We saw no one fighting or resisting against the police. We saw no throwing of water bottles. That seems to be the critical sort of ingredient here, is there was no violence toward the police. There weren't throwing of water bottles, rocks like we saw the other night, and then therefore there was no deployment of the CS tear gas like we saw on previous nights other than last night. So that's 2 nights now where they were able to get people to comply by strongly requesting it with multiple announcements. The police showed a tremendous amount of restraint here because they went several minutes after the curfew before taking any action. And there was a discussion between what appeared to be the loose leadership of the protest group and the actual leadership of the police forces here. Behind me, just to give you kind of a quick look, these are members of the Georgia National Guard. The Georgia National Guard, remember, they are under the command of the governor. The governor is the commander-in-chief, unless they're nationalized. They're not nationalized, so the president is not the commander-in-chief. They answer to the governor. These are not U.S. Army troops. They are Georgia National Guard troops. They have a line here. This is between Lucky Street and Marietta on Centennial Olympic Boulevard. And then there's another line in the distance. Those are Humvees that's creating sort of another bulwark against any sort of folks coming back. I want to ask Jefferson to swing wildly here for just a second. bear with us as we're panning on live television past these National Guard vehicles. By the way, I'm standing in the middle of the street. That's how vacant this street is that was packed with protesters not that long ago. I'm standing in the middle of Centennial Olympic Boulevard. It is empty. They've cleared it out. In the distance over here, you can see that was the line. Those are National Guard troops with what appears to be some sort of armored personnel carrier or up-armored vehicle that is right there at Marietta Street. That was the line that police were holding with steel barricades. The steel barricades are gone, now replaced by National Guard troops. They're holding that line, but really they're not facing any resistance here because this is the inner perimeter. This is the perimeter of that really nobody's getting this far in. I want to swing you back around one more time, and I apologize. Jefferson is our amazing photojournalist here, working really hard. We're running out of battery juice. We're running out of juice ourselves down here, but we're very relieved, as are these National Guard soldiers, that this did not amount to tear gas having to be deployed. They didn't have to fire any kind of non-lethal munitions. Really quite a success down here. People were able to share their anxiety, share their anger, share their feelings. There were direct conversations between police officers and between protesters, and they weren't even casual ones. They were, because we've seen, really in other cities, we've seen some police departments, police officers kneeling with protesters, and then 2 hours later they're deploying tear gas against them because there's been sort of a tit-for-tat escalation, really with, it's obviously the protesters had something to do with instigating that in most cases, although we have seen cases like we saw in Washington, D.C., where they moved against the protesters with no force displayed by the protesters and tear gas deployed on them. There was both CS that WUSA there, our station, found, and also OC canisters that were fired into the crowd. But tonight, I didn't need my gas mask other than to have it on when I saw the National Guard and the police putting theirs on. Of course I put it on because we all want to be safe here, but no gas had to be deployed. I think you could really count this as a success because it looks like other than the arrestees, everyone is going to go home and sleep in their own bed tonight without injury.
All right, Brendan Keefe reporting for us live. Thank you, Brendan. I did want to note, if you haven't been following the protests today, we did see Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms out there marching with the crowd among the protesters. We also saw Atlanta Chief of Police Erica Shields out there as well. Another difference, we did see two separate groups at least march to that epicenter of the protest down near Centennial Olympic Park. We had a large group gather out at Piedmont Park, hold a moment of silence, nearly 9 minutes in honor of George Floyd, the amount of time that he was restrained by that officer there in Minneapolis. We also saw a separate group of clergy members from various religions hold their own meeting at the state capitol and then march from there to the grounds here outside of Centennial Olympic Park. So we're starting to see some differences with how people are choosing to protest and some shifts in how people are getting there and what they're doing ahead of it. But again, the same results clearly as what we saw last night with a bunch of people getting there, having their voices heard, and then dispersing rather early.
At one point, the protesters were met with a heavy downpour, and the crowd was totally unshaken by it. Let's get over to Chief Meteorologist Chris Holcomb with a look at our forecast.
Yeah, and we're watching those showers move away from Atlanta. We don't really have anything inside the perimeter right now, but as you mentioned, Aisha, we had a pocket of heavy rain that came through right over Centennial Olympic Park, and the thing that was concerning me is that there was some lightning around. Now, we never had any lightning strikes directly over Centennial Olympic Park, but we did have some to the west and also over to the east. So we're feeling kind of lucky that we didn't see any of those lightning strikes down there where we had those crowds of people. That was the thing that was really worrying me tonight. You can see how that rain moved up toward the north and the east. It was heavy on the east side here of the perimeter, and now we've got another batch of rain kind of to the west of us and northwest that has developed in Cobb County between Marietta and Kennesaw. We were watching that as it developed, but now it's really growing a little more with some heavy rain in North Cobb, moving into southern Cherokee and in North Fulton County. We're not seeing much in the form of lightning with that. The rain in Gwinnett County was really heavy earlier with a lot of thunder thunder and lightning. That's starting to let up somewhat right now. And then we had some really strong storms here over parts of Lake Lanier with thunder and lightning. That one batch has moved away. Now there's another area of rain over Lake Lanier, and that's going to move up toward the north and east as well. Stay with us. We'll keep tracking these showers that are diminishing right now, and we'll let you know if we'll see more of those developing tomorrow and into the weekend.
All right, Chris, we'll see you in a couple of minutes, sir. Hey, this is a developing story here, folks. Athens-Clarke County Commissioner Mariah Parker has now tested positive for COVID-19. Parker was the organizer of Sunday's protest in downtown Athens. In a Facebook post, you can see it right there. She says that she was asymptomatic but infectious. Anyone who came in contact with her is urged to get tested and self-isolate for at least 14 days.
Well, there are a lot of emotions surrounding the ongoing protests, but we are still in the middle of a pandemic. According to the State Department of Public Health, there are now nearly 50,000 confirmed cases in Georgia. More than 2,100 people have died. The impact of having so many people crowded together is still unknown. Reveal investigator Rebecca Lindstrom found there's one forecasting model that shows Georgia was already headed in the wrong direction before the protest started.
The model was created by the co-founder of Instagram. It essentially tells us how fast the virus is spreading in our community. Georgia's rate of transmission right now is second only to North Carolina. Let's be clear, it's still really low, but enough to keep the virus hanging around. Essentially, this model says that for every 8 people with COVID-19, 9 more people will get it. I am not a mathematician or an expert in infectious diseases, so we took this model to someone who could tell me if this chart has merit.
And it was first developed for other epidemic diseases like SARS and MERS and Ebola and things like that.
Dr. Richard Rothenberg says the math behind the model has been around for about 8 years and tweaked with each event. He says the methodology is sound, but the rate is a look at what happened a week ago. So these numbers don't yet take into account the protests that have filled our streets.
In models in general, you never really want to take the exact number very seriously. You just want to look at the range and direction. And those are the things that I think are most important.
Right now, even with our range, we're not protecting ourselves enough to make this virus go away. We were in the green zone while we sheltered in place, but in the past 2 weeks, that has changed. A product of not enough people wearing masks, washing their hands, or detecting the virus soon enough to avoid others.
So the period from 2 days before to maybe 4 or 5 days after you become sick is a critical period for spread. Now, the people who are important in protecting themselves are the ones who don't have it.
We've shown you this trend graph for weeks. It seems like good news, and big picture, it is. But look at Connecticut's trend. That is the sharp kind of decrease we're going to need to see in new cases if we really want to slow this virus down. Rothenberg says he's keeping his eye on June 21st, 3 weeks out from Memorial Day, the first mass gatherings here in our state. There are plenty of states that are in the green in this model, so he says the real takeaway here is do what you need to do, but protect yourself while you're doing it.
Well, today, several local leaders and hundreds of people joined in unity at the King Center here in Atlanta.
What do we want? When do we want it?
They gathered for a peaceful protest downtown, sporting their Sunday best. They marched from Ebenezer Baptist Church all the way to the steps of the state capitol. Several Atlanta council members addressed the crowd, as well as Dr. Bernice King, who says she is happy to be part of a new revolution.
What is happening here across these streets in the United States of America is reverberating across the world. This is a global movement for justice and equity and freedom for all of God's children, and to recognize that Black lives once and for all matter.
An 11Alive estimate put the crowd out there close to 1,000 demonstrators by its end. We'll be right back.
In times of great uncertainty, some things become more clear. The things we take for granted, the people we depend on daily. Here at 11Alive, we'd like to say thank you. First responders, medical staff, sanitation workers, truck drivers, postal workers, and every brave Georgian doing their part to make a difference. We see you, we hear you, and we appreciate all that you do.
Let's start with a viral message going around. Quote, vast majority of people who died had ibuprofen Advil in their system. This message is fake.
We just bought 20 dust masks for $97.
Are you doing this to help people, or are you doing this to make money, or both?
Both. Take this email sent to the Verify team. Is it safe to have your house cleaned by outside workers? The best practice is to limit guests to emergencies only.
We know things are changing every day, but we're here with you. Continuous COVID-19 coverage during primetime. We're committed to giving you facts, not fear. On 11Alive News Primetime, weeknights from 8 to 11 on WATF.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Today at noon on 11Alive.
We are seeing that lack of smell or altered taste can be a symptom.
We answer your coronavirus-related medical questions. Because 11Alive is where Atlanta speaks.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11Alive today.
Welcome back, everyone. We're getting our first look at the man accused of driving his ATV into a motorcycle officer, an Atlanta motorcycle officer. Police say Avery Goggins ran into Officer Max Brewer during a protest Saturday night. Officer Brewer underwent surgery. He's now in recovery. He has serious leg injuries. Goggins faces several charges, including DUI and possession of marijuana.
In Gwinnett, 3 people are behind bars now accused of setting police cars on fire. One of them had been arrested days before at a protest. Our Latasha Givens has the latest information.
And investigators say those fires could have been much worse if it weren't for those residents who responded so quickly and put out those fires.
We believe that these individuals went out into the community and set these patrol cars on fire.
Gwinnett County Police say on Tuesday, 2 of its patrol cars were targeted at officers' homes in Duluth and Lawrenceville. You can see parts of the vehicles warped from the flames. A 3rd patrol car's windshield was smashed yesterday in Lawrenceville.
You're worried for your own personal safety and the safety of your family? No, it's just not acceptable.
It's very disheartening that we would have people like this visit our officers' homes and try to incite some sort of violence or property damage.
Police don't know if the officers were targeted specifically or if the vandals were driving around looking for any patrol vehicle. The ATF and the fire department arson unit helped them identify 3 suspects accused of setting the patrol cars on fire. Investigators allegedly found Molotov cocktail ingredients in 2 of the suspects' cars. One of the suspects, Alvin Josephs, had been arrested days before with a group of protesters at Sugarloaf Mills Mall.
It's one thing protesting for what's right, but then to retaliate, do something like that, it's wrong.
Joseph is also a convicted felon who's also facing charges for carrying a firearm. Gwinnett County Police tell us since national protests broke out, they've only made 7 arrests. They consider that a low number, and they hope to keep it that way.
We continue to track some scattered showers in the area. Most of the rain that was in the city inside the perimeter earlier has moved out. We've been tracking mainly dry conditions now, but we had some showers that moved through a little bit earlier that had some rain that came in over Centennial Park. And then we had some thunder and lightning mainly over here on the east side of the perimeter in DeKalb County. That has moved up toward the north. We're watching this area of rain that developed between Marietta and Kennesaw. That storm just kind of popped up, and now it's getting a little bit heavier and spreading out a little bit over northern Cobb, southern parts of Cherokee, and moving into parts of North Fulton County with some of those pockets of heavy rain near Milton right now. We're not seeing much in the form of lightning with this. It's not out of the question that we could see some lightning develop with that. Right now it's just mainly a good rain shower and some of it heavy. We had heavier rain over Gwinnett County earlier. That is starting to taper off right now as well, and you can see how it also had some thunder and lightning with it. Also, Lake Lanier had some really heavy rain earlier. Now a second batch of rain is in over Lake Lanier. That's going to move up to the north. It's kind of catching up to that first batch here up around the Lula area, and then more rain still with some thunder and lightning moving into Stevens County, Habersham County, Rabun County as well. Once this moves out, we'll see things starting to get a little bit quieter here, and then we'll just wait to see if this cell that's over North Fulton and southern Cherokee will rain itself out too. It may hold together into parts of Forsyth County, maybe southern Dawson County. Not much else going on there in North and West Georgia. Here's another live look at our Gwinnett County tower cam. I know that was kind of dark there, but we were tracking some showers and storms that rolled through Gwinnett County a little bit earlier. You can see the cooler air where the rain has been falling. Duluth, you drop down to 74. Athens is at 74. It's 68, though, in Gainesville with the cooler air, thanks to the rain that came through. Atlanta's still holding on at 80, though, and then we have temperatures near 80 down in Peachtree City. We're going to be getting in another update on Cristobal. Right now, it's a tropical depression down over land there in Mexico, and it's going to start moving back up toward the north, and as it gets back over water, it's going to become a tropical storm again later on Saturday. This is the still the 5 p.m. advisory. We didn't get an 8 o'clock intermediate advisory. We usually get that. That's just because it's still there over land. But we'll get another advisory coming in between 10:30 and 11 o'clock, and we'll have this updated track for you. But right now, still looks like it would be making landfall in Louisiana most likely later on Sunday, and then move northward and continue to move on up to the north. And we're on the right-hand side of that track, so that's just going to feed us more of that Gulf moisture our way, keeping us with scattered showers. Tomorrow, 40% chance for rain, highs near 87. We're going to go with the 6 on the wasometer. There's that moisture to the east that's going to just fall apart as it moves away. In the morning, dry in Atlanta, but we'll be watching a couple of showers in North Georgia, maybe a few of those in metro Atlanta. And then in the afternoon tomorrow, again, not widespread, but just about a 40% chance for scattered showers. And we really think the rain chance will come down a little bit on Saturday and Sunday with a 30% chance for showers. And then as Cristobal makes landfall late Sunday into Monday and starts traveling up through the Midwest, with us being on the right-hand side, we'll still see more moisture feeding in here. 40 to 50% chance for showers Tuesday, back to 40% Wednesday, and then a little lower rain chance on Thursday.
A Gwinnett mother says the death of George Floyd in Minneapolis, it was just heavy on her heart when she went for a drive yesterday. When she spotted a local police officer, she says she just wanted to talk. Their conversation is getting a lot of attention after she posted it on Facebook. She tells our Caitlin Ross she just wanted to be heard.
Sonia Simmons lights up when she talks about her 2 boys, Clayton and Matthew. They mean everything to her. But she says the violence she's seen against young black men keeps her up at night, and she wants a change.
Really, for their whole lives, I have feared for their safety. The events over the last week have just magnified everything.
Sonia Simmons has watched the protests that have swept the country and understood the anger of the people protesting in the street.
I've been on the verge of tears for over a week. I've been so angry. I've been so angry.
She says since this started, she's just wanted to hear another police officer say what happened to George Floyd was wrong.
When I was driving, I was thinking, why don't they stand up and police themselves?
She was thinking about that as she pulled into a local park and saw Gwinnett police officer T.W. Carrero.
Just as we don't want to be stereotyped as a race, that we're all bad, I realized that not all police officers are bad. And that's what my post really came about.
She says she pulled up beside him and rolled down her window to talk.
If I'm wearing a uniform and I'm proud of that uniform and that badge that I wear, then I'm not okay with people misrepresenting me.
She says Officer Carrero took the time to listen to her and explain how he felt about what happened.
He talked with me. He didn't talk at me. I didn't talk at him.
She wrote a post about their conversation on Facebook and says people were so encouraged to see how the officer really took the time to understand.
And I do see good people speaking up, speaking out, saying, I stand with you, I hear you. And really, isn't that what we all want as humans, is to be heard?
As we continue to fight against the injustices, we have to be united. We have to stand together. And for me, this crowd is me.
Let's start with a viral message going around. Quote, vast majority of people who died had ibuprofen Advil in their system. This message is fake.
We just bought 20 dust masks for $97.
Are you doing this to help people, or are you doing this to make money, or both?
Both.
Take this email sent to the Verify team. Is it safe to have your house cleaned by outside workers? The best practice is to limit guests to emergencies only.
We know things are changing every day, but we're here with you. Continuous COVID-19 coverage during primetime. We're committed to giving you facts, not fear. On 11Alive News Primetime, weeknights from 8 to 11 on WATF.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Today at noon on 11Alive.
We are seeing that lack of smell or altered taste can be a symptom.
We answer your coronavirus-related medical questions. Because 11Alive is where Atlanta speaks.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11Alive today.
In times of great uncertainty, some things become more clear. The things we take for granted, the people we depend on daily.
Another live look downtown, a very different scene out there, looking very quiet, very clear right now. 55 minutes into the city's curfew. Another night where the streets have cleared rather early. We did not see any tear gas, according to our reporters on the ground there. But we do know that this is night 7. That curfew will continue over the next few days. So we'll, of course, continue to follow it tonight and over the next few days as well.
All right, stick around. We are continuing 11Alive News Prime Time at 10 o'clock. We'll see you back here at the top of the hour.
from 8 to 11 on WATF.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Today at noon on 11Alive.
We are seeing that lack of smell or altered taste can be a symptom.
We answer your coronavirus-related medical questions. Because 11Alive is where Atlanta speaks.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11Alive today.
In times of great uncertainty, some things become more clear. The things we take for granted, the people we depend on daily. Here at 11Alive, we'd like to say thank you. First responders, medical staff, sanitation workers, truck drivers, postal workers, and every brave Georgian doing their part to make a difference. We see you, we hear you, and we appreciate all that you do.
Let's start with a viral message going around. Quote, vast majority of people who died had ibuprofen Advil in their system. This message is fake.
We just bought 20 dust masks for $97.
Are you doing this to help people, or are you doing this to make money, or both?
Both. Take this email sent to the Verify team. Is it safe to have your house cleaned by outside workers? The best practice is to limit guests to emergencies only.
We know things are changing every day, but we're here with you. Continuous COVID-19 coverage during primetime. We're committed to giving you facts, not fear. On 11Alive News Primetime, weeknights from 8 to 11 on WATF.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close
11Alive News Primetime on the ATL starts now.
Night of protest in Atlanta has come to an end. It is now 1 hour after curfew.
Atlanta is extending its curfew.
The seventh night of protest in Atlanta has come to an end. It is now 1 hour after curfew.
Atlanta is extending its curfew through the weekend. Then on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the curfew starts an hour earlier from 8 p.m. to sunrise. Tonight, the mayor and police chief both stepped out amongst protesters to hear from them personally. It is the first time we've seen Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms meet publicly with the protesters a day after some protesters demanded it. Brendan Keefe was there. He joins us live now. Brendan.
Yeah, let's just set the scene for you. It is calm right now on the streets of Atlanta. I'm happy to report there have been arrests. Obviously, we'll report those numbers when we get them, likely later tonight or early tomorrow morning. But right now, I can tell you that no one was injured. We don't have police officers that were injured. We don't have protesters that were injured. There was no tear gas deployed. It was an extraordinary evening, far more tension than last night, but we didn't see what we saw in the previous 5 nights before last night. Last night, tonight, no tear gas fired. We had the National Guard. We had the Atlanta Police Department. They formed a line. We had the protesters, 4 to 5 times the number that we saw last night. And the mayor had come out, and so did the police chief. The mayor talked over a bullhorn. She also was present for a moment of silence. And the chief also came out and spoke to some of the protesters. But a lot of the protesters weren't having it, frankly. It was surprising to see just how much they were booing. Not all of them. Some were listening. Some were trying to listen. but some were booing the mayor, and there was profanity and all of that. It wasn't great to see. There was a high level of tension. There were two very loud verbal warnings when the curfew approached, and they put on gas masks, that meaning the police and the National Guard, but they did not fire the tear gas, and they were able to convince nearly every protester to go home voluntarily. There were a couple of stragglers at the end, and there were a few arrests. And now I have taken off my gas mask, and I have put my COVID mask back on. These are the times in which we live.
All right, Brendan, thanks a lot. We appreciate that live update. Let's get to Hope Ford. She's going to continue our live coverage tonight. And Hope, the video that you showed us like 30 minutes before all of this began with everyone dancing, the National Guardsmen dancing with the protester. It was a wonderful sight. But then things changed as soon as the curfew struck 9.
Yeah, so we were out here going towards Luggage Street down Centennial Olympic Park Drive. You know, at that 8:30 area time when everyone started to kind of, you know, leave that area, and they came up to a woman who had a loudspeaker out there and was playing music, and some of the protesters started to dance. They were dancing to a few songs. You know, they were having a good time. And you could see some of the Georgia National Guard, they were looking at them, they were looking back at their supervisor, and they were looking back at the protesters and looking back at their supervisor, and finally their supervisor gave them the thumbs up. So some of the National Guard joined in, and they all started dancing together for a couple of songs. And everyone had a smile on their face, they were encouraging each other. Some of the Georgia National Guardsmen didn't know the dance moves, so they were being taught the dance moves. And then the organizer of this, she came up and she said, you know, this was intentional. I brought this loudspeaker out here and put it right next to this line of Georgia National Guardsmen because I've been seeing the tension over the last couple of nights when that curfew time comes up, and I really wanted to lift everyone's spirits. Take a listen to what she told me.
And we bring out this music every single day, and a few people were dancing the first day. We had a little bit more, and now today we have the National Guard dancing with us. I'm trying not to cry because this is all I wanted. From the day one, this is all we wanted to see, is real unity, because I know we're all hurting, and I know we're all in so much pain.
And then after that interview, the Georgia National Guard, they walked up to her and said, we're having fun, but we have to clear these people out. Curfew's approaching, so we have to bring out, you know, our shields and our riot gear. We have to do that. So, you know, that scene changed. People started to go home, and then you saw the line pushing back on that handful of protesters that were still there, pushing back. One of the protesters was, you know, in a heated discussion. He was banging on one of the shields, and then you saw an officer step out and pull him to the side, and they started walking down Walton Street, which is where I'm walking right now. And there were cameras everywhere. There were cell phones out recording. And they were having a conversation. The protesters who were upset and the police officer, they were having a conversation, and you just heard him continuously saying, please go home, please go home, please go home. And then they were able to kind of get them to the point where you had the Atlanta police. A lot of them came up behind, and they're yelling, please go home, because they're getting orders to arrest them. And they were like, we don't want to arrest anybody. We don't want to get hurt. Please go home. And they did end up making it all the way to their car. So just to show you that juxtaposition between what happened in that 30 minutes between 8:30 or 40 minutes between 8:30 and 9:10, kind of showing that shift between everyone having a good time and then the police having to do their job and protesters, you know, still wanting to stay out here. So. This is what we've seen tonight, and of course, as they were going home, there were a lot of people who were going, all right, y'all need to go home because we're going to be right back out here tomorrow for day 8 of protests.
And thousands all across the world have gathered for 10 straight days since George Floyd's death. But the vibe in Minneapolis today, it was different. At a memorial service to respectfully honor Floyd's memory, Jay Gray was there.
Amazing grace. If only for a couple of hours, calm replaces what has been a constant, uneasy tension in Minneapolis.
It's crazy, man. All these people came to see my brother, and that's amazing to me that he touched so many people's hearts.
George Floyd's family and friends coming together to say goodbye.
I just want to say thank you to him. Just for being there, just being a real, genuine person, just being loving and caring, and somebody I can count on no matter what.
Protective masks can't hide the pain and heartache, fueling demands for justice and change growing since Floyd's death.
It's time for us to stand up in Georgia's name and say, get your knee off our necks.
The message literally sounding from the rooftops to a crowd just outside the memorial and echoing across the nation, thousands gathering like they have for 10 straight days now in Washington and here in Brooklyn.
I thank God for y'all. I thank God for y'all showing love to my brother.
Floyd's brother Terrence leading a prayer service and march in Brooklyn. This silent demonstration in Massachusetts, and perhaps the most powerful tribute coming from Floyd's little girl, Gianna, atop her godfather's shoulder.
We have new developments tonight in the Ahmaud Arbery case. A South Georgia judge says there is enough evidence to move forward with a trial against the 3 men charged with killing Arbery. The 25-year-old was shot and killed in Brunswick. This happened back in February, as you know. Cell phone video shows the moment it took place, sparking national outrage. 2 months later, Gregory McMichael and his son Travis and their neighbor William Bryan were all charged with his murder.
Throughout the day, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation revealed new information they say shows the 3 men hunted Arbery down, ultimately executing him, including the man who pulled the trigger and his use of the N-word. Today, dozens of protesters outside of the Glenn County Courthouse demand 3 men accused of killing Ahmaud Arbery stay behind bars while they await their trial.
I do. You may be seated.
Inside, a special agent with the Georgia Bureau of Investigation disclosed new details about the case, including William Bryan's role in Arbery's death. He originally claimed he was just a witness who recorded the shooting with his cell phone. This morning, GBI says he worked with the McMichaels to try to capture Arbery.
He made several statements about trying to block him in and using his vehicle to try to stop him. His statement was that Mr. Arbery kept jumping out of the way and moving around the bumper and actually running down into the ditch in an attempt to avoid his truck.
After the shooting, Bryan says Travis McMichael used a racial slur to describe Arbery.
Mr. Bryan said that after the shooting took place, before police arrival, while Mr. Arbery was on the ground, that he heard Travis McMichael make the statement, "F***ing shit."
Wanda Cooper Jones is Arbery's mother.
What stood out the most, I think, is to learn that after my son laid there in the streets dead, that he didn't feel any type of remorse at all. He continued to use the word that he used. Despite he had killed him, he was dead.
GBA also disclosed Travis shot Arbery 3 times, twice in the chest and a 3rd time in his right wrist. Previous reports show Travis shot Arbery in the hand to try to defend himself.
What that indicates to us is that it was not a defensive shot. It was an offensive shot where he planned to kill Ahmaud Arbery by shooting him body center mass in the chest. It wasn't in response to any assault on him.
GBI found 2 social media posts where Travis also used the N-word. A grand jury date has not been set. All 3 men remain behind bars.
And switching gears to our weather tonight, Chief Meteorologist Chris Holcomb is monitoring some possible storms for tomorrow, and some of us got some showers today.
Yeah, we did, and there are still some of them lingering out there. This is the time of night when you have these heat and humidity type showers that these start to diminish. We are seeing a weakening trend with some of these, but some of them are still holding together pretty well with some heavy rain. In the city itself, we no longer have any rain here. We had some showers that came through earlier. Some of those were on Centennial Park and in Piedmont Park. Those moved over to the east. Now we're watching some of these showers that developed between Kennesaw and Marietta, and that area of rain is really kind of blossoming a little bit with some moderate rain. Not really heavy showers and storms anymore with this, and in fact we're not even really seeing any thunder and lightning with that. That's moving to the north and to the east near Forsyth County. We had some heavier showers in Gwinnett earlier. Those moved up to around Lake Lanier. We have another batch of rain over Lake Lanier now, and that's going to keep moving on over to the east. And then behind this system, not much else is going on right now. So I do think once this moves to the north and east, things will start to die down just a little bit, and we'll see some drying out overnight. But then tomorrow, another round of scattered showers and storms are going to be moving into our direction. Take a look at these temperatures. We have rain-cooled air out there right now, 74 in Duluth, 69 in Gainesville with the rain that's coming down there. We have just moved below 80 here in Atlanta at 79. Marietta, you're also at 79 degrees. Stay with us. We're going to time out any additional showers and storms that could redevelop during the day tomorrow, and we'll let you know if that rain shower activity is going to linger into the weekend.
All right, here are some other big stories we are following for you right now. We are getting our first look at the man accused of driving an ATV into an Atlanta motorcycle officer. Police say Avery Goggins ran into Officer Maximilian Brewer during a protest Saturday night. Officer Brewer underwent surgery and is in recovery. He has some serious leg injuries. Goggins faces several charges, including DUI and possession of marijuana.
Athens Clark County Commissioner Mariah Parker has now tested positive for COVID-19. Parker was the organizer of Sunday's protests in downtown Athens. In a Facebook post, she says that she was asymptomatic but infectious. Anyone who came in contact with her is urged to get tested and self-isolate for 14 days.
Only 5 days until the Georgia primary, and despite COVID-19 restrictions, voters have cast more than 1 million ballots. According to the Secretary of State's office, nearly 80% of those are absentee. Absentee ballots must be received by a county elections office no later than 7 p.m. on Tuesday in order to be counted. 11Alive's Decision 2020 team is here to look at all the issues that matter most to you and your family ahead of Georgia's primaries on June 9th. If there is something you want us to cover or questions you have, let us know.
You know what, Aisha? Children are also taking part in the American experience by speaking out against injustice, just like this little girl here, a little toddler with the Black Lives Matter sign. It's on fire on social media. A lot of folks are talking about that. We're going to continue our live team coverage coming up after the break. Stay with us.
And mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Today at noon on 11Alive.
We are seeing that lack of smell or altered taste can be a symptom.
We answer your coronavirus-related medical questions. Because 11Alive is where Atlanta speaks.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11Alive today.
In times of great uncertainty, some things become more clear. The things we take for granted, the people we depend on daily.
Another live look at a clear downtown Atlanta. Hour and 15 minutes after the citywide curfew, protesters have moved out. Just a few remaining law enforcement and National Guard officers out there. We are way beyond the curfew. It seems like it was a very peaceful night and things are pretty much wrapped up.
You know, the GBI believes a coordinated effort was responsible for much of the violence and destruction we saw in protest downtown Atlanta. That happened recently. Ryan Kruger explains how some of those people arrested have a history of violence at other protests.
Yeah, Ron, the GBI says that there have been more than 500 people who have been arrested in the city of Atlanta during these protests that began on Friday. And now most of them, 84%, they're from Georgia. But the GBI says they are looking into some of these out-of-towners, these out-of-staters, and they believe tonight that many of them came here just to cause trouble. After a moment of silence at Piedmont Park Thursday afternoon, organizers of this march warned others, be on the lookout for anyone looking to cause trouble.
If you see someone doing something sketchy, stop them, call them out, take a picture of who they are.
GBI Director Vic Reynolds says while the overwhelming majority of people at the protests have been peaceful, there are several from out of state with a history of violence.
We're seeing histories like prior assaults, prior obstructions of law enforcement officers, prior terroristic threats cases.
The GBI looked at more than 400 arrests from Friday to Monday. 84% of them are from Georgia. But the ones from outside the state have an interesting history. For instance, one man is from Minnesota. Authorities believe he took part in the riots up there before coming to Atlanta. A Florida person was arrested, and they had several charges for assault from the riots in Ferguson, Missouri back in 2014. And 10 people from out of state were all bonded out of jail by the same person.
But it indicates to us that they were connected in some fashion, and so we're trying our best with our federal partners to see what those connections are.
And you sort of heard Director Reynolds kind of allude right there. They are working with the FBI and other federal partners to really try to figure out if there are any other cities in this country that are also seeing the same thing, possibly these coordinated groups that may be coming in and causing some sort of damage or destruction. We did ask him who these groups are, who they're connected to, what they believe in, their ideology. He said that is all stuff they are still working on and cannot mention it right now.
Okay, thanks a lot, Ryan. All right, switching gears right now, we're going to head over to Chief Meteorologist Chris Holcomb. And Chris, you know, some of those protesters did see a little bit of rain right before the curfew hour.
Yeah, they did, and they got wet by some of those showers. And I'm just thankful that it was just rain there, because there was some lightning around inside the perimeter, but we never had any lightning right on top of Centennial Olympic Park. But it was around. It was getting me a little bit worried out there for the crowds of people that were outside. Right now, mainly dry inside the perimeter, but as you can see here, we had some of those showers that came through earlier. Those moved up to the north and east, and now we're keeping an eye on these showers that are kind of growing a little bit, and we even have a new lightning strike right there in Forsyth County, just to the north and west of Cumming, where we've been tracking these showers that developed back in Cobb County between Marietta and Kennesaw. Just kind of started bubbling up there, and then as it moved to the north and east, they kind of started spreading out a little bit, and now we're seeing a little bit of lightning. You most likely heard some thunder just a few minutes ago in the Cumming area and into Forsyth County, and that's going to keep moving up to the north. We had some heavier rain in Gwinnett County a little bit earlier. That continues to move up to the north and east with that rain that's starting to diminish somewhat in intensity, and it will keep moving on out of the area tonight. Not much else redeveloping back here to the north and west. Temperatures are starting to come down, especially in those areas that had rain. We call it rain-cooled air. We're at 69 right now in Gainesville, 74 in Duluth, but we're just below 80 right now in Atlanta. Watching Cristobal, a tropical depression that will become a tropical storm again as it moves up through the Gulf of Mexico. We're expecting potential landfall around Louisiana on late Sunday, we think, into early on Monday. And since we're on the right-hand side of this system, it's just going to continue pumping a lot of moisture our way, and that's going to keep us with some rain chances. So a 6 on the wasometer tomorrow, highs near 87 degrees. And then as we head into Saturday and Sunday, the rain chance comes down a little bit to 30%, with highs around 88 Saturday, 85 Sunday. And then going back up Monday and Tuesday with some of that tropical moisture that'll be feeding our way with those higher rain chances, and then coming back down to 40% Wednesday, 30% on Thursday, with highs generally there in the mid-80s for much of next week. Take a look at your weather wow moment. This is from Christine Wilcox in Winder. Nice look at the cloud formations there earlier this morning, just after sunrise up in the Barrow County area. We'd love to see your weather wow moment, and we get a lot of those from our 11Alive storm trackers. You can become a part of that group on Facebook. Just search 11Alive storm trackers. Ask to become a member of this closed group. We'll let you in, and you can also see what other storm trackers are posting, and you can also upload your weather information, pictures or videos there.
All right, Chris, thanks so much. We'll see you a little bit later in the show. Another live look downtown where you see things have wrapped up, and it is pretty clear on day 7 of protests. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Viral message going around. Quote, vast majority of people who died had ibuprofen Advil in their system. This message is fake.
We just bought 20 dust masks for $97.
Are you doing this to help people, or are you doing this to make money, or both?
Both. Take this email sent to the Verify team. Is it safe to have your house cleaned by outside workers? The best practice is to limit guests to emergencies only.
We know things are changing every day, but we're here with you. Continuous COVID-19 coverage during primetime. We're committed to giving you facts, not fear. On 11Alive News Primetime, weeknights from 8 to 11 on WATF.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Today at noon on 11Alive.
We are seeing that lack of smell or altered taste can be a symptom.
We answer your coronavirus-related medical questions. Because 11Alive is where Atlanta speaks.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11Alive today.
In times of great uncertainty, some things become more clear. The things we take for granted.
You know, each and every night we hear from protesters and they tell us why they are marching every single night. And 11Alive is where Atlanta speaks. And this is what they're saying tonight.
Stuff has to change. We can't just, and this can't be like 3 days, 4 days. It's got to be every single day until they do something.
So you shouldn't be able to kill someone on camera and be able to still go home, because they can't go home.
Please understand that we mostly come in peace, but at the same time, you cannot bring a life back.
This is a peaceful crowd, and all they are expecting is action and change. That's it.
So we're fighting more than one cause being out here. It's the fact that our death is being justified, but then we're also dying from coronavirus.
And we're not looking for violence. We're not looking to loot. We're not looking to riot. We just want our voices to be heard.
It's okay to speak up for yourself. What's right is right. What's wrong is wrong.
We want to do it in peace. We want to do it in harmony.
And we're not protesting haircuts or a curfew. We're protesting our life. We just want to stay alive. We just don't want to die.
This is about justice, and we all need to stand together in this fight.
And we thank the people that's doing it the peaceful way.
Pay attention, man. Let's go. Let's fix this. Let's fix it.
All do not matter.
11Alive is where Atlanta speaks, and we want to know what's your role in this movement. Call us. Call us on the number on your screen, 678-765-9514, to leave a voicemail. Leave your name, number, and where you are from, and we may use your message on the air. Before we go to break, here's a live look downtown Atlanta once again, where it is pretty much clear. Protesters cleared out right before curfew, except for a few stragglers, but all that's left, a few National Guardsmen and also APD. We'll be right back.
We are seeing that lack of smell or altered taste can be a symptom.
We answer your coronavirus-related medical questions. Because 11Alive is where Atlanta speaks.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11Alive today.
Let's
Let's start with a viral message going around. Quote, vast majority of people who died had ibuprofen Advil in their system. This message is fake.
We just bought 20 dust masks for $97.
Are you doing this to help people or are you doing this to make money or both?
Both. Take this email sent to the Verify team. Is it safe to have your house cleaned by outside workers? The best practice is to limit guests to emergencies only.
We know things are changing every day, but we're here with you. Continuous COVID-19 coverage during primetime. We're committed to giving you facts, not fear. On 11Alive News Primetime, weeknights from 8 to 11 on WATF.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Today at noon on 11Alive.
We are seeing that lack of smell or altered taste can be a symptom.
We answer your coronavirus-related medical questions. Because 11Alive is where Atlanta speaks.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11Alive today.
In times of great uncertainty, some things become more clear. The things we take for granted, the people we depend on daily. Here at 11Alive, we'd like to say thank you. First responders, medical staff, sanitation workers, truck drivers.
Streets clear now after the 7th night of protests. We're an hour and a half now into the 9 p.m. curfew. Brendan Keefe is live downtown to show us what it's looking like right now, Brendan.
Aisha, I never thought when 2020 started that I would have to take my COVID mask off, my coronavirus mask off, to put on my gas mask, then take my gas mask off to put on my coronavirus mask. But that is the world in which we live right now. And it doesn't even seem abnormal, which is, I guess, the problem. What I am happy to report to you is that this went about as well as it could have, given the crowd that we had tonight that was 4 to 5 times larger than last night. There was no deployment of tear gas, of that CS gas that we saw for 6 nights, so I strike that for 5 nights. We didn't see it on night 6. We didn't see it tonight on night 7. And that is certainly a good thing because it was close. There was a standoff, but there was a lot of give and take. And they were able to essentially negotiate people leaving the scene and going home, which was really something. So right now we're looking at a shot of the scene. What basically we're seeing here is we're seeing a National Guard vehicles that are returning to base. This is what they call RTB, bring it back home, because it's mission accomplished tonight. What they tried to do was to get everybody home safe, and that's what they did. We've heard no reports of any injuries. We have heard reports of some arrests, but there weren't mass arrests. There was a little bit of a standoff there. They had to make the announcement twice, and some people didn't want to go home. But eventually they did. And even though we all had our gas masks on, the police had their gas masks on, and also the National Guard, and when they put their gas masks on, we put ours on. I was sure that there was going to be the firing of tear gas, but instead they just advanced the line. There were just a few stragglers left, and they made a couple of arrests, but pretty much the vast majority of people, including the police and the National Guard, are going to be sleeping in their own beds tonight. So that's the story here live from downtown. I'm Brendan Keefe. Ron?
All right, thanks a lot, Brendan, for the update. You know, as protests continue for a 7th straight day in Atlanta, some of Georgia's top elected officials are now appearing on national television to discuss the calls for social justice reform. 11Alive's Joe Henke is tracking the conversation for us tonight.
As protests continue in Atlanta and around the country, civil rights icon and Georgia Congressman John Lewis appeared on the Today Show this morning and shared how he believes Martin Luther King Jr. would react to today's demonstrations.
He's looking down and he's saying to each and every one of us, keep it up and never give up, never give in, but to keep the faith and to keep your eyes on the prize.
Lewis also said he is very pleased when asked about new charges being brought against former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin. Chauvin, originally charged with third-degree murder and second-degree manslaughter for the death of George Floyd, is now charged with second-degree murder.
It would send a strong and powerful message that you will not just go out and kill a person and know that you are killing that person without powerful action on the part of the law of the land.
And this afternoon on The Ellen Show, Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms called the protests in Atlanta's streets and many other cities around the country a turning point in the fight against racism.
And I know it's true because I'm seeing white police officers take a knee next to black protesters. So the fact that they are articulating very boldly and very publicly saying, I don't have all of the answers, but I recognize that you're hurting, I think it's a step that we hadn't seen taken in this country, at least in my lifetime.
Bottoms added protesters and elected officials must now work together if protests are to turn into noticeable change. And as Representative Lewis and Mayor Bottoms talked on national TV today, other elected officials and religious leaders talked outside of the King Center here in Atlanta. They held an event in honor of George Floyd as a memorial service took place at the same time for Floyd up in Minneapolis.
That was Joe Henke reporting for us tonight. A controversial statue is being removed in Virginia today. Governor Ralph Northam announced the statue of Confederate General Robert E. Lee is being removed from Richmond's Monument Avenue as soon as possible. The statue, which has become a rallying point during recent protests, will be put into the storage room while Northam's administration and community leaders decide where to put it.
Well, the latest now on the number of COVID-19 cases across our state. According to the State Department of Public Health, there are now nearly 50,000 confirmed cases in Georgia, and more than 2,100 people have already died. And there's a lot of emotions, as you can imagine, surrounding the ongoing protests, but we're still in the middle of a pandemic. The impact of having so many people crowded together is still unknown. Reveal investigator Rebecca Lindstrom found there's one forecasting model that shows Georgia was already headed in the wrong direction before those protests started.
The model was created by the co-founder of Instagram. It essentially tells us how fast the virus is spreading in our community. Georgia's rate of transmission right now is second only to North Carolina. Let's be clear, it's still really low, but enough to keep the virus hanging around. Essentially, this model says that for every 8 people with COVID-19, 9 more people will get it. I am not a mathematician or an expert in infectious diseases, so we took this model to someone who could tell me if this chart has merit.
And it was first developed for other epidemic diseases like SARS and MERS and Ebola and things like that.
Dr. Richard Rothenberg says the math behind the model has been around for about 8 years and tweaked with each event. He says the methodology is sound, but the rate is a look at what happened a week ago. So these numbers don't yet take into account the protests that have filled our streets.
In models in general, you never really want to take the exact number very seriously. You just want to look at the range and direction. And those are the things that I think are most important.
Right now, even with our range, we're not protecting ourselves enough to make this virus go away. We were in the green zone while we sheltered in place, but in the past 2 weeks, that has changed. A product of not enough people wearing masks, washing their hands, or detecting the virus soon enough to avoid others.
So the period from 2 days before to maybe 4 or 5 days after you become sick is a critical period for spread. Now, the people who are important in protecting themselves are the ones who don't have it.
We've shown you this trend graph for weeks. It seems like good news, and big picture, it is. But look at Connecticut's trend. That is the sharp kind of decrease we're going to need to see in new cases if we really want to slow this virus down. Rothenberg says he's keeping his eye on June 21st, 3 weeks out from Memorial Day, the first mass gatherings here in our state. There are plenty of states that are in the green in this model, so he says the real takeaway here is do what you need to do, but protect yourself while you're doing it.
AMC Theaters, the world's largest movie theater chain, says it has substantial doubt it can remain in business after the coronavirus pandemic. According to AMC, people are not going to the movies because of the coronavirus. As a result, the company is losing a lot of money. And to make matters worse, the company says distributors may continue to push back new film releases. There is also a possibility some studios will start offering hit blockbusters on demand or through streaming. Ahead of the summer schedule, the airline business is coming back to life. American Airlines plans to fly 55% of its domestic schedule in July. That is up dramatically from May, when it flew 20% of its schedule from a year ago. According to a high-ranking company official, American is seeing a slow rise in domestic demand and is confident it is time to expand flights. And according to the Wall Street Journal, Delta plans to fly twice as many domestic flights in July as it did in May.
A Gwinnett County mom says the death of George Floyd in Minneapolis was heavy on her heart when she went for a drive yesterday. So she spotted a local police officer and says that she just wanted to talk to him. Their conversation is getting a lot of attention after she posted it all on Facebook. And she tells our Caitlin Ross she just wanted to be heard.
Sonia Simmons lights up when she talks about her two boys, Clayton and Matthew. They mean everything to her. But she says the violence she's seen against young black men keeps her up at night, and she wants a change.
Really, for their whole lives, I have feared for their safety. The events over the last week have just magnified everything.
Sonia Simmons has watched the protests that have swept the country and understood the anger of the people protesting in the street.
I've been on the verge of tears for over a week. I've been so angry.
She says since this started, she's just wanted to hear another police officer say what happened to George Floyd was wrong.
When I was driving, I was thinking, why don't they stand up and police themselves?
She was thinking about that as she pulled into a local park and saw Gwinnett police officer T.W. Carrero.
Just as we don't want to be stereotyped as a race, that we're all bad, I realized that not all police officers are bad. And that's what my post really came about.
She says she pulled up beside him and rolled down her window to talk.
If I'm wearing a uniform and I'm proud of that uniform and that badge that I wear, then I'm not okay with people misrepresenting me.
She says Officer Carrero took the time to listen to her and explain how he felt about what happened.
He talked with me. He didn't talk at me. I didn't talk at him.
She wrote a post about their conversation on Facebook and says people were so encouraged to see how the officer really took the time to understand.
And I do see good people speaking up, speaking out, saying, I stand with you, I hear you. And really, isn't that what we all want as humans, is to be heard?
Sonia says she's been overwhelmed by the reaction to her post. It's already been shared thousands of times. Coming up at 6, we're talking about some of those reactions.
We still are tracking some showers, a little thunder and lightning left even at this late night hour. Those are going to be diminishing. We'll talk about whether or not we'll see additional storms redeveloping tomorrow that could linger into your weekend.
Coming up, 2 NFL quarterbacks taking heat after comments about race. What one Falcons player has to say about what's going on next.
Doing their part to make a difference. We see you, we hear you, and we appreciate all that you do.
Let's start with a viral message going around. Quote, vast majority of people who died had ibuprofen Advil in their system. This message is fake.
We just bought 20 dust masks for $97.
Are you doing this to help people, or are you doing this to make money, or both?
Both. Take this email sent to the Verify team. Is it safe to have your house cleaned by outside workers? The best practice is to limit guests to emergencies only.
We know things are changing every day, but we're here with you. Continuous COVID-19 coverage during primetime. We're committed to giving you facts, not fear. On on 11Alive News Primetime, weeknights from 8 to 11 on WATF.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Today at noon on 11Alive.
We are seeing that lack of smell or altered taste can be a symptom.
We answer your coronavirus-related medical questions. Because 11Alive is where Atlanta speaks.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11Alive today.
Let's start with a viral message going around. Quote, vast majority of people who died had ibuprofen Advil in their system. This message is fake.
We just bought 20 dust masks for $97.
Are you doing this to help people, or are you doing this to make money, or both?
Both. Take this email sent to the Verify team. Is it safe to have your house cleaned by outside workers? The best practice is to limit guests to emergencies only.
We know things are changing every day, but we're here with you. Continuous COVID-19 coverage during primetime. We're committed to giving you facts, not fear. On 11Alive News Primetime, weeknights from 8 to 11 on WATF.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more.
Welcome back, everyone. The Hispanic and Latino communities are now uniting to support the Black Lives Matter movement as these protests continue all across our country. And they told our 11Alive's Elwin Lopez that they understand more needs to be done even within their own communities.
The whole world shut down again. You know, I feel like we're kind of like in the middle of a revolution right now.
Roberto Hernandez, a Latino artist, says he knew he had to do something to show his support for those marching against racial injustice. Attending the protest, he says, wasn't an option because he had to meet his deadline, painting a mural at Plaza Fiesta on Buford Highway. But he didn't let that get in his way. He found another way to be a part of the movement with a little help from his friends.
It was a very humble protest.
Through music and signs he painted in both English and Spanish, saying, "We are all the same, todos somos iguales."
A few signs that say that the Latino community is an ally to the cause.
A small yet significant way to show his support.
Anything as little or as big as it can be, it can add so much power to the movement.
Like him, there are many others in support of the cause. The Latino Community Fund released a statement saying, quote, it recognizes the need to mobilize and organize against institutional racism and white supremacy.
So the work that we need to do is we need to do internal work in the Latinx community to dismantle white supremacy and colorism and racism first.
Gigi Pedraza, executive director of the organization, says they have committed to several points of action, including doing more to highlight the voices of Afro-Latinos in the community.
Learning from them, you know, their experiences and how we can be better allies, it's the way to go.
Hernandez tells me he also plans on painting a mural in support of the African-American community. He says it might take some time, but that he will make it happen.
Tonight, the GBI is offering a closer look at the people arrested during the first few days of protest here in Atlanta. Between last Friday and Monday, 370 people arrested in Atlanta and also in Fulton County. This is what we know, is that of those, the vast majority live here in Georgia. 57 were from out of state, 5 homeless. Only a small group had faced previous criminal charges like aggravated assault, willful obstruction, and giving a false name to law enforcement. The average age of those arrested, 24 years old. Now, we tried to get specific answers from the Atlanta Police Department about the number of people arrested for looting Friday night and how they're trying to track them down. We're still waiting for a response.
I'm meteorologist Chris Holcomb from the 11Alive Storm Trackers, where we are still watching some showers out there that do have some thunder and lightning with them. You're most likely hearing that and seeing that on the north side, where we have some of those pockets of heavy rain still. Most of the rain has moved out of the downtown area. We had some of those showers earlier that had some heavy rain and thunder and lightning with them. Now, we've been watching those showers move out of Cobb through Cherokee, through North Fulton County. There's that bit of heavy rain right there in the eastern parts of Cherokee County. More showers moving through Forsyth County right now. They've been inundated by some waves of heavy rain that have been coming through Forsyth County, and then those have been trailing up over Lake Lanier as well, and more of that rain's coming in over Lake Lanier right now after these waves came through earlier, and some of those earlier had some thunder and lightning. Northeast Georgia, you're still getting some of those showers. They are showing signs of diminishing as they move up toward the north and east. We're not really seeing much in the form of lightning with these anymore. There might still be a few lightning strikes in the next little while here, still possible in some of those bands of heavier rain, but things are showing signs of weakening somewhat. And then once this moves through, I really think that this is going to be the end of it for tonight before we see additional showers and a few thunderstorms developing tomorrow. The Storm Prediction Center has kept just one little tiny part of North Georgia in that marginal risk for some stronger storms. That's mainly up to the north into Tennessee and also into parts of Kentucky. We haven't seen a lot of that happening up in those areas. Tomorrow, we're going to see the rain chances coming back, about a 40% to 50% chance at different times during the afternoon hours tomorrow. Temperatures in those lower and even some mid 80s in some spots. It's not going to be a total washout there. We just got our new advisory in on Tropical Depression Cristobal. This is the 11 p.m. advisory. Came in a little bit early. The storm is still over land there in Mexico, and it's going to emerge back out over water and become a tropical storm again. We think that's going to happen late Friday night and into Saturday. It's going to keep moving north through the Gulf of Mexico, gaining some strength. And the timetable is still pretty much for late Sunday, potentially making landfall along the Louisiana coastline, and then move up through Louisiana and then north and to the north and east there. And since we're on the east side of this system, we're just going to see a lot of that Gulf moisture. This storm will enhance that Gulf moisture moving our way through the end of the week, and then even more of that next week too. 87 for a high tomorrow, a 6 on the wazometer. We're watching that rain move out tonight, and then tomorrow dry in Atlanta. We'll see a couple of spotty showers here and there around lunchtime and after. Rain chances tomorrow about 40% again for those scattered showers. I do think they'll come down a little bit to 30% Saturday and Sunday, and then with the remnants of Cristobal into next week, we'll have enhanced moisture giving us a 40% chance for showers Monday, 50% chance Tuesday, then decreasing on Wednesday and Thursday with highs holding in the mid 80s.
For us as a club, that we have a moral duty to speak out, because we wear the name Atlanta on our shirts. We're Atlanta United. We're the team that wants to give our fans a voice. We want to be something that unites the city.
Atlanta United's president giving his thoughts on his and the club's role when it comes to social and racial injustice, saying inaction is just as bad as the wrong actions. Meanwhile, 2 NFL quarterbacks have faced some tough criticism for present and past comments. Jake Fromm and Drew Brees. Sure, you heard about this one today. Old text messages from Fromm surfaced where he made a comment about elite white people. He apologized and said he 100% supports the fight against racism. Brees also apologizing today after his comments about never supporting anyone disrespecting the American flag. Falcons linebacker Deion Jones said words are not enough.
People not knowing, he hasn't walked our shoes. But you would think he would have empathy, being in a locker room full of that, but he still leaves and he doesn't have the same problem. So, like I said, it's just going to start with people's willingness to listen and learn.
A few of Jake Fromm's former UGA teammates calling him out, such as Chiefs receiver Mecole Hardman, who tweeted Fromm's apology saying it was crazy, and Jaguars receiver Terry Godwin, who said that he's seeing everyone's true side and that he's lost respect for both Breeze and Fromm. The NBA is officially returning. The board today approving the league's 22-team restart in Disney. It should resume around July 31st. However, since the Hawks were not in playoff contention, their season is over. And Vince Carter's 22-year career has come to an end. I remember when Vince Carter started. Great times. The Hawks finished the season with 20 wins and 47 losses. Major League Soccer is getting ready to announce a return to play with the tournament in Orlando. There were some contentious negotiations between MLS and the players, with the commissioner threatening a lockout. Jeff Ornitz, that one tore me up, said that the league used bullying tactics and has not answered all of the players' questions.
Being asked to take a leap of faith by the commissioner in a situation involving a pandemic. They're taking 2,000 people's lives into their hands, and they better have it sorted. So it's on them.
UGA Athletic Director Greg McGarity received a one-year contract extension today, and Chase Elliott starts on the pole for Sunday's NASCAR race at AMS. We'll take a break and we'll be right back. I'm going to practice those names too. Another look downtown, a clear night as protest has wrapped up for night 7. We'll be right back.
Questions. Because 11Alive is where Atlanta speaks.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11Alive today.
In times of great uncertainty, some things become more clear. The things we take for granted, the people we depend on daily. Here at 11Alive, we'd like to say thank you. First responders, medical staff, sanitation workers, truck drivers, postal workers, and every brave Georgian doing their part to make a difference. We see you, we hear you, and we appreciate all that you do.
Let's start with a viral message going around. Quote, vast majority of people who died had ibuprofen Advil in their system. This message is fake.
We just bought 20 dust masks for $97.
Are you doing this to help people, or are you doing this to make money, or both?
Both. Take this email sent to the Verify team. Is it safe to have your house cleaned by outside workers? The best practice is to limit guests to emergencies only.
We know things are changing every day, but we're here with you. Continuous COVID-19 coverage during primetime. We're committed to giving you facts, not fear. On 11Alive News Primetime, weeknights from 8 to 11 on WATF.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Today at noon on 11Alive.
We are seeing that lack of smell or altered taste can be a symptom.
We answer your coronavirus-related medical questions. Because 11Alive is where Atlanta speaks.
We're going to still have a few scattered showers redevelop tomorrow afternoon and into the evening with the rain chance at 40%. We think that'll come down a little bit Saturday and Sunday, down to 30%, and then back to 40 and 50% going into next week as we watch the remnants of Cristobal move up into the Midwest and to our north and east, keeping some moisture around. Rain chances do go down Thursday to 30% with high temperatures next week in the mid-80s. Flip over to 11Alive right now for more news on Up Late.
In times of great uncertainty, some things become more clear. The things we take for granted, the people we depend on daily. Here at 11Alive, we'd like to say thank you. First responders, medical staff, sanitation workers, truck drivers, postal workers, and every brave Georgian doing their part to make a difference. We see you, we hear you, and we appreciate all that you do.
Let's start with a viral message going around. Quote, vast majority of people who died had ibuprofen Advil in their system. This message is fake.
We just bought 20 dust masks for $97.
Are you doing this to help people or are you doing this to make money or both?
Both. Take this email sent to the Verify team. Is it safe to have your house cleaned by outside workers? The best practice is to limit guests to emergencies only.
We know things are changing every day, but we're here with you. Continuous COVID-19 coverage during primetime. We're committed to giving you facts, not fear. On 11Alive News Primetime, weeknights from 8 to 11 on WATF.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Today at noon on 11Alive.
We are seeing that lack of smell or altered taste can be a symptom.
We answer your coronavirus-related medical questions. Because 11Alive is where Atlanta speaks.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11Alive today.
Let's start with a viral message going around. Quote, vast majority of people who died had ibuprofen Advil in their system. This message is fake.
We just bought 20 dust masks for $97.
Are you doing this to help people or are you doing this to make money or both?
Both. Take this email sent to the Verify team.
From 11Alive News, Up Late starts now.
Curfew enforced with a lot of might. Here's a look on the left side of your screen. The moment law enforcement has started cracking down. Nearly 2 hours later, no protesters in sight. A live look of downtown is on the right there, folks. Earlier today, Atlanta's mayor addressed the crowd on the 7th day of protest.
We are in the midst of a movement in this country.
Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms let the crowd know their voices deserve to be heard, but she was met with a little hostility. Welcome to Up Late, everyone. I'm Ron Jones.
And I'm Aisha Howard. Today in Minnesota, there was a reminder of why so many Americans are speaking out and people all over the world. At a memorial service, a lawyer for George Floyd's family says his death sparked a movement.
What we are doing is helping America be America for all Americans.
That's amazing to me.
We'll hear more from Floyd's family coming up later here on Up Late. As George Floyd's family remembered him today, people in Atlanta and across the world hit the streets. One of Floyd's brothers led a rally in Brooklyn, New York. Crowds also marched in cities across Europe, including a group of protesters outside the U.S. Embassy in Poland. We have live team coverage from downtown tonight. Let's kick things off with our Hope Ford.
Yeah, we're right here right now at the corner of Centennial Olympic Park and Marietta at the end of day 7 of protests. This has been the beginning and the end of all the protests. And like all the days we've seen, there's been a huge crowd out here. A majority of them were, out here, protesting, and, those tempers weren't really rising above, anything serious throughout the night. I do want to talk about a moment as that curfew approached. Around 8:30, we noticed a group that was gathering to start dancing. And so as we walked over there, there's a group started dancing, and then you see members of the Georgia National Guard. They kind of were looking at their supervisor and looking at the crowd and looking at their supervisor. Their supervisor gave them the go-ahead, and then they jumped in with those protesters, and they all started dancing together for several minutes. The organizer, one of the woman who went over there and put that loudspeaker in that area, told me that she did that on purpose. She did that because she wanted to ease some of the tension that she had been seeing over the last couple of days. Here's what she had to say.
And we bring out this music every single day, and a few people were dancing the first day. We had a little bit more, and now today we have the National Guard dancing with us. I'm trying not to cry because this is all I wanted. From the day one, this is all we wanted to see, is real unity, because I know we're all hurting, and I know we're all in so much pain.
Now, after that moment, the juxtaposition there was it was time for curfew, and you saw the Georgia National Guard. Now they have to do their job. There was a handful of protesters that were still out here, and you saw them being pushed back by police. There was a moment where one of the protesters banging on police shields. He was taken to the side. They were kind of pushed back a little bit. They were talking to each other, and they, you heard Atlanta police saying, "We just want you to go home. We don't want anyone hurt." And then they did actually, were able to disperse those people without making any arrests or anything getting violent there. So day 7 of protests, and a lot of people, as they were heading home, said, you know what, we'll be back here tomorrow.
Okay, Hope, thanks a lot for the update there. Now to new information about Friday's unrest in Atlanta. The GBI believes a coordinated effort was responsible for much of the violence and destruction. 11Alive's Ryan Kruger joins us live downtown with more on how some of those people arrested have a history of violence at protest. Ryan?
Yeah, Ron, more than 500 people have been arrested in Atlanta since the protests began back on Friday. Almost all of them, more than 80%, are from Georgia. But the GBI director tells me tonight that they are looking into the fact, and they believe that some of those out-of-towners came here specifically to cause trouble. After a moment of silence at Piedmont Park Thursday afternoon, organizers of this march warned others, be on the lookout for anyone looking to cause trouble.
If you see someone doing something sketchy, stop them, call them out, take a picture of who they are.
GBI Director Vic Reynolds says while the overwhelming majority of people at the protests have been peaceful, there are several from out of state with a history of violence.
We're seeing histories like prior assaults, prior obstructions of law enforcement officers, prior terroristic threats cases.
The GBI looked at more than 400 arrests from Friday to Monday. 84% of them are from Georgia, but the ones from outside the state have an interesting history. For instance, one man is from Minnesota. Authorities believe he took part in the riots up there before coming to Atlanta. A Florida person was arrested, and they had several charges for assault from the riots in Ferguson, Missouri back in 2014. And 10 people from out of state were all bonded out of jail by the same person.
But it indicates to us that they were connected in some fashion, and so we're trying our best with our federal partners to see what those connections are.
And you heard Director Reynolds kind of allude to the fact that they are working with federal partners, including the FBI, to find out if other cities are seeing something similar, possibly seeing these coordinated efforts. We also asked who these groups are, what do they believe in, what's their ideology. He said at this time they do not know, but they do believe there is at least some sort of coordination that was going on, especially on Friday when all that violence erupted.
All right, thanks a lot, Ryan. You know, we are Where Atlanta Speaks, and a lot of you want to know about the number of people arrested for looting businesses Friday night and how Atlanta police is working to track all those folks down. So we're still waiting to get a response. But coming up tomorrow on the Morning Rush, we're going to hear from one of those business owners who's out of more than $100,000 in merchandise and hear their struggle to repair and reopen. Watch tomorrow starting at 5 a.m.
Now to new developments in the Ahmaud Arbery case. A South Georgia judge says there is enough evidence to move forward with the trial against the 3 men charged with killing Arbery. Arbery was shot and killed in Brunswick back in February. Cell phone video shows the moment it happened, sparking national outrage. 2 months later, Gregory McMichael, his son Travis, and their neighbor William Roddy Bryan were all charged with his murder. 11Alive Reveal investigator Andy Parati learned new revelations in court today about the moments after Arbery's death.
Throughout the day, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation revealed new information they say shows the 3 men hunted Arbery down, ultimately executing him, including the man who pulled the trigger and his use of the N-word. Today, dozens of protesters outside of the Glenn County Courthouse demand 3 men accused of killing Ahmaud Arbery stay behind bars while they await their trial.
You may be seated.
Inside, a special agent with the Georgia Bureau of Investigation disclosed new details about the case, including William Bryan's role in Arbery's death. He originally claimed he was just a witness who recorded the shooting with his cell phone. This morning, GBI says he worked with the McMichaels to try to capture Arbery.
He made several statements about trying to block him in and using his vehicle to try to stop him. His statement was that Mr. Arbery kept jumping out of the way and moving around the bumper and actually running down into the ditch in an attempt to avoid his truck.
After the shooting, Bryan says Travis McMichael used a racial slur to describe Arbery.
Mr. Bryan said that after the shooting took place, before police arrival, while Mr. Arbery was on the ground, that he heard Travis McMichael make the statement, "F***ing shit."
Wanda Cooper Jones is Arbery's mother.
What stood out the most, I think, is to learn that after my son laid there in the streets dead, that he didn't feel any type of remorse at all. He continued to use the word that he used. Despite he had killed him, he was dead.
GBA also disclosed Travis shot Arbery 3 times, twice in the chest and a 3rd time in his right wrist. Previous reports show Travis shot Arbery in the hand to try to defend himself.
What that indicates to us is that it was not a defensive shot. It was an offensive shot where he planned to kill Ahmaud Arbery by shooting him body center mass in the chest. It wasn't in response to any assault on him.
GBI found 2 social media posts where Travis also used the N-word. A grand jury date has not been set. All 3 men remain behind bars.
Earlier tonight, I talked exclusively with Ahmaud Arbery's mother, Wanda Cooper Jones, and the family attorney, Lee Merritt. I started by asking Ms. Cooper Jones to describe her day watching in that courtroom.
Today was a good day, I think. Again, I learned new information. Some of the information was shocking. It gave me a sense of closure of the last minutes of my son's life.
For a moment, you had to leave. Tell us about that moment where you decided that you wouldn't stand for listening to this anymore.
There was a testimony being given by discussing Ahmaud's mental illness. That being said, Ahmaud is no longer with us. I gathered that Ahmaud couldn't speak, and I was in a position where I couldn't speak in his behalf, so I chose to leave.
Mr. Mayor, I followed your live tweet and your live feed this morning. Tell me your biggest takeaways from today.
These were people who were clearly motivated by race. When they attacked Ahmaud, when they identified him as a criminal, when he defended themselves, they thought of him as a dangerous black man. The defense really leaned into the predatory black man image from somebody who was clearly under attack. It was honestly very bizarre how committed they were to this racism that made up their defense.
As a mom who feels this like none other, what is your response to what we're seeing, not even just in the country, but across the world right now in response to what has happened?
I'm very thankful at this point. I'm glad that the voices are being heard, not only in Ahmaud's case, but in all the other cases as well. I think that Ahmaud's death and Mr. Floyd's death as well will implement change. This change is what we need.
We will continue to follow both of those national stories. Now to other top stories we are following for you tonight. Let's get you up to speed. Booked. Here is a mugshot of the ATV driver accused of crashing into an Atlanta officer. Police say Avery Goggins ran into Officer Max Brewer during Saturday's protests. Goggins faces several charges, including DUI. Officer Brewer is recovering from some serious leg injuries. Honoring George Floyd, today, family and friends held a memorial service for the man killed while in police custody in Minneapolis. George Floyd's brother spoke at the service.
It's crazy, man. All these people came to see my brother, and that's amazing to me that he touched so many people's hearts.
During the service, Floyd's family held an 8-minute and 46-second moment of silence. That is how long Officer Chauvin pinned Floyd down last week with his knee on his neck. 4 fired officers now face charges. Demanding justice, more than 100 people marched today in honor of George Floyd in Gwinnett County. People wearing masks joined together in Publix at the parking lot in Hamilton Mill near Decula. They want criminal justice reform now.
Curfew crackdown. Next, we're going to rewind the clock the moment hundreds of protesters stayed out after curfew. Plus, as you know, it's our mission to bring you facts, not fear. A look at just how many people are still checking into the hospital with the coronavirus.
Still tracking some of those lingering showers out there. I'll let you know if these will stay with us overnight and if we'll see more redeveloping tomorrow.
Virus-related medical questions. Because 11Alive is where Atlanta speaks.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11Alive today.
In times of great uncertainty, some things become more clear. The things we take for granted, the people we depend on daily. Here at 11Alive, we'd like to say thank you. First responders, medical staff, sanitation workers, truck drivers, postal workers, and every brave Georgian doing their part to make a difference. We see you, we hear you, and we appreciate all that you do.
Let's start with a viral message going around. Quote, vast majority of people who died had ibuprofen Advil in their system. This message is fake.
We just bought 20 dust masks for $97.
Are you doing this to help people, or are you doing this to make money, or both?
Both. Take this email sent to the Verify team. Is it safe to have your house cleaned by outside workers? The best practice is to limit guests to emergencies only.
We know things are changing every day, but we're here with you. Continuous COVID-19 coverage during primetime. We're committed to giving you facts, not fear. On 11Alive News Primetime, weeknights from 8 to 11 on WATF.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory disease.
Welcome back to Up Late on 11Alive. I'm Chief Investigative Reporter Brendan Keefe, but tonight I was on protest duty, and we've been down here this evening on what turned out to be a very successful night for all involved, protesters and police and the National Guard, because just about everyone except a few people arrested will be sleeping in their own beds tonight. There was some very tense moments out here where there was the threat of the firing of tear gas. Everyone had their gas masks on the police, National Guard, and media side, where we were standing for protection. Not obviously picking a side in all of this, but the tear gas was not fired. They were able to convince the protesters to leave and the few stragglers that remained to give up. The chief of police, Chief Shields, was actually out here, as was the mayor. We asked the chief why she had chosen to come out and see the protesters on the front line.
We're used to, as APD, interacting and hearing the protesters. That is not abnormal for us.
And that's the chief of police out here. We had a lengthy interview with her. Of course, it's all on 11alive.com. That's a story from downtown on what turned out to be a more peaceful night than it could have been.
All right, thanks a lot, Brendan. You know, the theme for tonight's protest in downtown Atlanta, Aisha, is let's talk it out.
Yeah, so we saw a lot of conversations between police and protesters even after the 9 p.m. curfew. 11 Alive was on the air as it happened. Let's take a look.
Okay, this is pretty much 9 o'clock, folks. We just heard an alarm go off or a bell. Let's see what happens.
It looks like it's a standoff between a couple of gentlemen at the front line there.
Again, just like we saw the other night, tremendous amount of coordination here. There are 1- and 2-word orders going out, and everybody's following them to the letter.
That officer right there, he was having a conversation. It was a calm conversation. They're trying to get him to walk away. We're getting surrounded with National Guardsmen right now because they said, all right, now we have to do it. Okay, they're calling for a sergeant because they're trying to get through. They're saying, please go home.
People were able to share their anxiety, share their anger, share their feelings. There were direct conversations between police officers and between protesters. I think you could really count this as a success.
And Ron, another moment that was counted as a success tonight, that moment that we showed earlier in the show where some of the Georgia National Guard members actually got out to dance with protesters when they had a big loudspeaker out there.
I tell you what, that was the highlight of the night for me, especially being former law enforcement, seeing that diplomacy actually works. Because, you know, all this week we have been watching the police officers on the front lines, having a conversation with some of the protesters up there to let them know that they're human. This is a lighter side, but this is the fruit of their labor. The National Guard and the protesters coming together, doing the electric slide or whatever they call it today. And it was just wonderful to watch, and hopefully we'll have more of that conversation coming up later.
And the protesters weren't moved by a little rain out there, Chris. Let's talk about what's on tap as we head into the weekend.
We still have this same air mass that has a lot of humidity with it and a lot of heat, and so we're going to see a few more scattered showers that'll redevelop tomorrow too. We still have some of those, even though we're losing the heating of the day. We have some showers and storms that are lingering on the north side. Now, Aisha, you mentioned we had some of those showers that came through downtown Atlanta earlier. Some of those went right over Centennial Park. They didn't last long at all there. And I was a little concerned because we had some thunder and lightning nearby. Thank goodness there was no lightning right on top of Centennial Park as those showers moved through, but there were some to the west and some to the east. Now, all of that has been moving up toward the north and east as well. Let me show you where we still have those showers that are lingering. In Forsyth County, also into Cherokee County between Ball Ground and Lathamton. Still some heavy rain, but not a lot of thunder and lightning with that. As you go up into Hall County on the north end of Lake Lanier, this is right here around Gainesville, we still have some lightning with that. So you might be hearing some thunder up in North Hall right now. That's going to move up into Banks, into the Lula area, and also up into White County still. Some of these showers that'll move through. Lumpkin County getting some of that. White County will get some of that. Habersham as well. And then this will continue moving out, and it's diminishing somewhat as it moves on over to the east. Take a look at what we're going to be watching as we go through those overnight hours. We'll see temperatures that'll be in the 70s early in the morning, and then we'll eventually watch those showers still starting a little bit later on in the day tomorrow. Here's the 11 p.m. advisory on Tropical Depression Cristobal. This is down in Mexico right now over land. It has been downgraded to a tropical depression. It was downgraded earlier today, but that doesn't mean it's over. It's going to move up to the north, and when it emerges back over water, it's going to become a tropical storm again late Friday and into Saturday. Then continue moving through the Gulf of Mexico by Sunday morning, still just south of Louisiana. We think that later on Sunday night, this is most likely going to make landfall in Louisiana, and then what's left of that system will move up toward the north and west of us and then move north. And so that's just going to keep this moisture flow coming into our area, really increasing our rain chances a little bit more into next week. But until then, we're going to be dealing with scattered showers. 87 tomorrow on our scale from 1 to 11, where an 11 is a perfect day. We're going with a 6 on the wasometer. We do see the rain chances coming down a little bit on Saturday and Sunday to 30%. High temperature still going to be very warm out there in the right around 88 on Saturday, and then 85 on Sunday. And then next week, that's when we see those rain chances coming up a little bit more, thanks to the remnants of Cristobal, with a 50% chance for showers on Tuesday, then back down to 40% Wednesday, 30% chances on Thursday, with high temperatures pretty much holding around 84 for much of next week.
Now to the COVID-19 outbreak in Georgia. It is our mission to walk you through the numbers, explaining what this all means. While there is growing concern the recent protests could cause a spike in COVID-19 cases, there's good news for Fulton County right now. Let's check it out. We've seen a drop in the number of new cases reported in the past week. There were 299 new COVID-19 cases in Fulton. The week before that, we saw more than 400. Statewide, the Department of Public Health has reported almost 50,000 positive COVID-19 cases. That is almost 1,000 more cases than yesterday, but still in line with what we've come to expect. While the number of total patients being treated for COVID-19 continues to fall to 807 people, we are seeing an increase in the number of new patients going to the hospital. Atlanta's mayor on Ellen. Next, the moments from protests that made her feel change has come to America. Two NFL quarterbacks taking heat after some comments about race. What one Falcons player has to say about what's going on next.
Responders, medical staff, sanitation workers, truck drivers, postal workers, and every brave Georgian doing their part to make a difference. We see you, we hear you, and we appreciate all that you do.
Let's start with a viral message going around. Quote, vast majority of people who died had ibuprofen Advil in their system. This message is fake.
We just bought 20 dust masks for $97.
Are you doing this to help people, or are you doing this to make money, or both?
Both. Take this email sent to the Verify team. Is it safe to have your house cleaned by outside workers? The best practice is to limit guests to emergencies only.
We know things are changing every day, but we're here with you. Continuous COVID-19 coverage during primetime. We're committed to giving you facts, not fear. On 11Alive News Primetime, weeknights from 8 to 11 on WATF.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Today at noon on 11Alive.
We are seeing that lack of smell or altered taste can be a symptom.
We answer your coronavirus-related medical questions. Because 11Alive is where Atlanta speaks.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11Alive today.
Let's start with a viral message going around. Quote, vast majority of people who died had ibuprofen Advil in their system. This message is fake.
We just bought 20 dust masks for $97.
Are you doing this to help people, or are you doing this to make money, or both?
Both. Take this email sent to the Verify team. Is it safe to have your house cleaned by outside workers? The best practice is to limit guests to emergencies only.
Earlier today, Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms spoke with protesters downtown. A Snapchat user posted this video. The mayor thanked everyone for coming out, but she was also heckled. Now, Mayor Bottoms gained a lot of national attention for her statements Friday night, telling rioters with passion to go home.
Today, she told Ellen DeGeneres she didn't remember what she said during Friday's news conference. She rewatched it when she got home to jog her memory. As for the peaceful protests, Mayor Bottoms feels they're making a difference.
I do think there's been a monumental shift in this country this week. And I know it's true because I'm seeing white police officers take a knee next to Black protesters. So the fact that they are articulating very boldly and very publicly saying, I don't have all of the answers, but I recognize that you're hurting, I think is a step that we hadn't seen taken in this country, at least in my lifetime.
Mayor Bottoms also spoke out against President Trump in the interview. She told Ellen she feels he's making tensions worse in America.
Two NFL quarterbacks that are very familiar to fans right here in the ATL are taking heat tonight for present and past comments. Jake Fromm and also Drew Brees. Well, today Fromm's old text messages surfaced where he made a comment about elite white people. He apologized and said he 100% supports the fight against racism. Brees also apologizing after his comments about not supporting anyone who disrespects the American flag. Falcons linebacker Deion Jones says that words are not enough.
People not knowing, he hasn't walked our shoes. But you would think he would have empathy, you know, being in a locker room full of guys, but he still leaves and he doesn't have the same problem. So, like I said, it's just going to start with people's willingness to listen and learn.
A few of Jake Fromm's former UGA teammates are calling him out, such as Chiefs wide receiver McCole Hardman, who, quote, tweeted Fromm's apology saying it was crazy, and Jaguars wide receiver Terry Godwin, who said he's seeing everyone's true side and that he's lost respect for both Brees and Fromm.
Here is a live look downtown as we get ready to head to break. We'll be right back with a moment of solidarity from Piedmont Park.
We hear you, and we appreciate all that you do.
Let's start with a viral message going around. Quote, vast majority of people who died had ibuprofen Advil in their system. This message is fake.
We just bought 20 dust masks for $97.
Are you doing this to help people or are you doing this to make money or both?
Both. Take this email sent to the Verify team. Is it safe to have your house cleaned by outside workers? The best practice is to limit guests to emergencies only.
We know things are changing every day, but we're here with you. Continuous COVID-19 coverage during primetime. We're committed to giving you facts, not fear. On 11Alive News Primetime, weeknights from 8 to 11 on WATF.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Today at noon on 11Alive.
We are seeing that lack of smell or altered taste can be a symptom.
We answer your coronavirus-related medical questions. Because 11Alive is where Atlanta speaks.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11Alive today.
In times of great uncertainty, some things become more clear. The things we take for granted, the people we depend on daily. Here at 11Alive, we'd like to say thank you. First responders, medical staff, sanitation workers, truck drivers, postal workers, and every brave Georgian doing their part to make a difference. We see you, we hear you, and we appreciate all that you do.
Let's start with a viral message going around. Quote, vast majority of people who died had ibuprofen Advil in their system. This message is
This is why we march today.
A moment of solidarity in Piedmont Park. Today, protesters taking a knee for 8 minutes, honoring the life of George Floyd. And I'm sure, Aisha, we're going to see more of that passion tomorrow and for the days to come.
Thanks for staying up late with us. Good night, everybody.
Coverage during primetime. We're committed to giving you facts, not fear. On 11Alive News Primetime, weeknights from 8 to 11 on WATF.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Today at noon on 11Alive.
We are seeing that lack of smell or altered taste can be a symptom.
We answer your coronavirus-related medical questions. Because 11Alive is where Atlanta speaks.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11Alive today.
Let's start with a viral message going around. Quote, vast majority of people who died had ibuprofen Advil in their system. This message is fake.
We just bought 20 dust masks for $97.
Are you doing this to help people, or are you doing this to make money, or both?
Both. Take this email sent to the Verify team. Is it safe to have your house cleaned by outside workers? The best practice is to limit guests to emergencies only.
We know things are changing every day, but we're here with you. Continuous COVID-19 coverage during primetime. We're committed to giving you facts, not fear. On 11Alive News Primetime, weeknights from 8 to 11 on WATF.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Today at noon on 11Alive.
We are seeing that lack of smell or altered taste can be a symptom.
We answer your coronavirus-related medical questions. Because